Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the official sumo podcast for the unofficial sumo fans.
Ah, Flerick.
It's on purpose now. It's on purpose.
Oh.
Yeah. We're definitely an official podcast. Fuck you guys.
We are not. We are not sanctioned by the JSA. That is what would make us official.
We want to be, but we aren't, okay?
Okay, you guys shut the fuck up. All right.
It's like,
I'm Flerick. I'm Flerick.
This is Ryan.
And this is Mac, and we have to give it a minute.
Whoa, wait a second. We're
this is
breaking
Jake
a little bit here.
Yep. And this is the Haru recap. I was thrown off because I missed the midway episode. I didn't know where we were for a second there.
No.
This is the Haru recap. It's going to be difficult for some of us as Takayasu does what Takayasu does, and I
take these back.
As our viewers can see, Yokozuna Jake is not having a good day right now. This was not.
No.
I'm sorry, Yokozuna Jake, but you are truly bearing the brunt of another choke. I'm sorry.
That did help a little bit when you called me Yokozuna Jake, though.
Jake, do you even want to be here? I feel like you spent most of this podcast already away from your mic.
Yeah, well, we'll see how long I last. I've got thoughts, and we'll get there. But
we'll see how unbearable I am when we are talking about Takayasu.
I have a strategically planned bathroom break coming up pretty soon.
Okay.
Yes. After we do the housekeeping stuff, I think I might just kind of go camera off for a minute.
So yeah, Takayasu does what Takayasu does this basho, which is build up the hopes of his diehard fans, like our good friend Jake here, and all like the sumo casuals who want to see this gruff old guy finally get over the hump and win the Yusho. And who's here to shatter his dreams this time? This time it's the young upshot Onosato who comes in, wins his... I'm going to emphasize this a little bit more later, but really need to hit on it now. His third top division basho and his 12th ever tournament.
Fantastic.
I would love to spend the rest of the episode on Onosato if that's cool with you guys.
It is not.
And not mention any other people and how they did.
Before we move on, I want to say thanks for me for the first time, for Jake and Flerick for once again, to Nathan and Menken of Honu Sumo for filling in for Mac and I as we were unable to record the midway episode. So big thanks to both of those guys for helping fill our shoes on the midway episode.
And part of the reason that they were our guests is Nathan and I and their Honu teammate. Honu Sumo is the club out in San Diego that both Nathan and Menken are part of. But that club is led by JJ Jones, who is another very important guy in amateur sumo and another guy that's very knowledgeable on pro sumo, just like Nathan and Menken. But JJ, Nathan, and I just finished our first season of a new sumo podcast. Highly recommend you go and check out Echoes. That is on the YouTube channel called Maximum Effort Studios. Our first season is all about the history of sumo in California. Specifically Southern California, because it was supposed to be just like all of it, and then it turns out there's way more stuff to cover. But yeah,
there's gotta be a good feeling though, right?
No, it's great. Yeah, it's just like when we discovered pro sumo for the first time. I'm sure you guys remember like how, oh, cool, we found like some stuff online. Oh, wow, there's more. Oh, wow, there's more. And it just like keeps building up. And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, you're knee deep in a rabbit hole of researching something new and cool. And yeah, this was one of those things. So that sumo podcast is called Echoes, a sumo history podcast that is on Spotify and on YouTube. But yeah, thank you very much to those guys for joining. Kind of a last minute thing. And they had a lot of fun. I know I had a lot of fun. So we'll probably make that a long-term replacement for Ryan and Mac, but we just figured we'd do the GSB retro lineup for today.
Over my dead body.
You will pry this podcast away from mine from his cold, dead hands.
I don't know, man.
Right.
Half of the show had the commitment to be here last weekend, so I'm just saying.
You've missed episodes too.
I was about to say, yeah, right.
Yeah, you and me are probably got the best schedule, but yeah, we've all missed a couple.
Yes.
Anyway,
Jake, why don't you send some more thanks to some amateur sumo friends with
Yes.
our Patreon compliment?
TJ Moore, if you are as good a podcast supporter as sumo wrestler, we are in good shape. I appreciate TJ hopping on here, and I'm looking forward to the next installment of his rivalry with Iowa's own Brandon. Those two guys, every Midwest tournament they're at, just beat the crap out of each other. So,
like Supari or Harite? Like, what do you mean?
just everything.
Everything. Oh, God.
TJ also has a nice side hobby of beating the crap out of Fleric.
Oh, no.
I think it was just the one time, but it was a good one.
Yeah, TJ is a Supari guy, and there's like the famous one where I was like thinking about how to get into the belt, and like he just kind of like just pushed me one thrust, and I just sent me flying right out of the ring.
No.
Oh well, but yes, thank you for
Welcome,
joining, TJ. As a quick continuation, there we're going to do our Amazumo update. This will be real quick because there is just one real thing going on at this second, and that is Nationals coming up this coming weekend, 29th of March. Keep an eye out for it. It's going to be on the Dark Circle Sumo YouTube page, roughly like 10 to 4-ish, I think is kind of our window. But go check that out. The national tournament decides who goes to the World Championships in Thailand this fall. Following that up, 2 weeks later is the Rain City Open in Seattle. And then we got a little bit of a breather in between, but I would highly recommend going to check out ussumo.org. That is the Federation's homepage, and it's finally up to date on all of the upcoming tournaments. And there's a buttload of them. I'm just going to go rapid fire here because there are too many for us to go into too much. But national championships coming up this weekend. Then 2 weeks later is the Rain City Open. 2 weeks after that, I was wrong. There's no break. It's Rollertown in Dallas. Gagamaru is coming, I believe. Geez, I think this is exactly 2 more weeks after that.
Good God, Jake, stop it.
Mac, you got to stretch before these. You know how much is coming here. The U.S. Sumo Open is happening in Los Angeles on May 10th. The Empire Cup, the inaugural event from New York Sumo Club, happening on May 17th. May 31st in Nashville is the Sakura Cup. That one had like 60 competitors last year, so that's going to be another very big one. I would keep an eye out. And last but not least, in late June, it looks like Friday the 20th through Sunday the 22nd is the Raijin Sumo training camp. Raijin Sumo nearly swept the gold medals in at Nationals last year. This is like the club to train with if you ever get a chance. But they're doing a 3-day training camp, and they're going to close it out with the East Coast Classic tournament is what they're calling it. If everybody's going to be in one spot, they might as well do a tournament was kind of their thinking. But this is the second year in a row that they've done just a big old training camp for anybody who can make it. But in particular, we want the world team to get a chance to train together before they go to World Championships. What's up, Mac?
Oh, no, I was just about to say, so for Raijin Sumo, does that mean that Edibo and Eric just completely steamrolled everybody?
I would say yes, but like they're not they are only half of the national champions on that team.
Oh!
Yeah, no, Raijin Sumo is like absolutely where it's at. And yeah, whatever. We got plenty of amateur stuff coming up for sure.
Sorry.
Mac, you know how dangerous that is to ask me clarifying questions.
I do, Yokozuna Jake. I'm trying to help you feel better about what we're going to dive into shortly. So
you know
trying
what?
to make you feel.
That's a good point. So, anyways, a couple other things that are coming up here. No, I'm kidding. I'm good. I'm done. But yeah, amateur sumo, big deal. Please watch Nationals. If you can't make it, come next year.
All right, so let's dive deeper into the results of the Haru basho.
Well, look at
mentioned,
this time here.
Come on back in about a half hour, Jake. As we mentioned, Onosato defeats Takayasu in a playoff on day 15 to win his 3rd career Yusho. It was with a 12-3 record this time. So Onosato has 2 12-3s and a 13-2 to his name now. Of course, that means our June Yusho winner was Takayasu with his 9th career June Yusho. He has the most June Yusho in a career without winning the cup. That prize used to, or that the honor used to go to Kisei no Sato, who had 12 June Yusho before he won his first Yusho. So Takayasu still needs a few more heartbreaks before he can match his former stablemate in Kisei no Sato in that regard. As far as special prizes go, the Gino Show Technique Prize goes to Takayasu. This is his 3rd Technique Prize in his career and his 13th special prize overall. Nobody was awarded the Shuken Show Outstanding Performance Prize. And we had 2 people get the Kanto Show Fighting Spirit Prize for their first career special prizes. We had Maegashira 14, Chura no Umi, who went 11-4, and Maegashira 15, Aonishiki, who went 11-4 as well in his debut basho. So let's really get into the meat of the Takayasu stuff right now. So it's
off that Band-Aid. Yeah. Let's just do it.
Takayasu, it's not as much of a choke as he has done in the past. It's this, especially on day 15. The choke really happened on day 14 here, where he was alone in the lead twice this basho, once after day 10 and once again after day 13. Both times that he was alone in the lead, he immediately lost the next day and could never keep that lead for multiple days at a time. This is not, like I said, this is not his biggest choke. This is the first time, actually, that he won on day 15 to force a playoff, as opposed to losing on day 15 to fall back into a playoff, whereas he would have just won the U-Show had he won his day 15 matchup. And honestly, the day 15 opponent that he had was poetic in Abi. This is the same Abi that defeated Takayasu on day 15 in March of 2022, which forced Takayasu into a playoff with Wakataka Kage, which he would lose. It's also the same Abi that beat Takayasu on day 15 in November of 22, which once again forced Takayasu into a playoff where he lost to Abi, the infamous Abi Henka in the playoff there, which cost Takayasu a chance for that U-Show.
I'm going to be as unbiased as possible. I was
about to say, ooh.
Abi doing that Henka in the playoff should be a crime. And I don't mean like people dislike him for it. I'm like a little upset he didn't get arrested for it. Like, or at least like, I don't know, something symbolic, like hurl him off a mountain or something. I don't know. Just
into a volcano or just down the side?
That's a really good question. I don't have a good answer. Those are, one of them would be more thorough, but one of them would take longer.
I
so I don't know what.
Very Sophie's choice there. Yeah.
Oh no, Sophie's choice is between 2 bad things. I would be okay with either direction of Abi getting thrown from a mountain.
So today, Takayasu was facing his big day 15 nemesis, and very much to Takayasu's credit, Takayasu stood strong. He won the match. It was convincing. Abi even did the very evil, very predictable thing for Abi, which was Henka on day 15 against Takayasu. Abi, unfortunately,
unbelievable.
I say unfortunately, kind of making it guess cheering against Takayasu kind of was, because I enjoyed pain. But Abi was not in his best form this basho. The Henka was not all that it could be. Takayasu easily recovered, got a hold of Abi's belt, and threw him to the ground. And that left Onosato to have to defeat the husk of Kotozakura. Kotozakura had gotten his 8 wins and checked out on day 13 after that happened. There was no fight to Kotozakura against Onosato on day 15. So that was easy win for Onosato there. And then that brought us to the playoff match. We know what happens. There's a huge collision at the Tachiai. Takayasu was moved back, but he did get an inside grip with his left hand. He attempted to throw Onosato, but Onosato was able to keep his balance, did not fall down, and he was able to push Takayasu out from the back. And the future Yokozuna, Onosato, picked up his 3rd career basho. So,
whoa. What'd you just throw in there?
Facts.
What do you mean?
Facts is what he threw in there.
Are you
future Yokozuna?
Like, is this in debate?
Come on.
Like, is anybody honestly going to push back on Onosato being a future Yokozuna?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You 2 months ago.
No, I have never pushed back on Onosato being a future Yokozuna.
I just know, like, he's had a couple like that have been slightly less than U-Show winning, And it's like the hype certainly didn't die by any means, but it slowed down the slightest bit. I'll take back calling out you personally by all means, but like
I have never once wavered that Onosato was a future Yokozuna.
Yeah, honestly though, I do appreciate you bringing up Sophie's Choice because that movie is less sad than me being a Sumo fan.
Stop trying to distract from what's about to happen. So
I think I'm just going to put that movie on the other screen to cheer me up.
It's okay, Yokozuna Jake. It's okay. Just grit your teeth and bear through it.
I feel like it is my responsibility. We might have a bunch of newcomers to sumo over the past couple of years listening to this podcast that might not understand the full history of why this Takayasu loss hurts so much. We had mentioned he has 9 Jun Yusho in his past, and there's quite a few heartbreaks in there. I'm going to list them off for you, but first of all, I'm going to tell you what's not.
There's too many to list. Here goes.
What's not included in this list? This list ignores the time he was 11-2 after day 13 and tied for the lead before he would lose his final 2 matches in July 2014. This list also ignores the time he started 10-0 and then lost his next 3 matches to lose the Yusho by 2 in March of 2017.
This
list also ignores the time. This list also ignores the time Takayasu held a 2-win lead after day 10 and became the first Rikishi ever to blow a 2-win lead on day 10 back in March of 2021. And this list also does not include the time Takayasu was 1 win behind the leader Tamawashi on day 15, but he had a day 15 matchup against Tamawashi to force a Yusho. Takayasu lost that match, did not force a playoff.
I can hear the acid reflux going on in Jake's body right now. Just the grimaces, I'm like, ooh, this is bad.
Those are all sad and disappointing, but they just fail to rise to the level of these other 3 basho.
Similar to Sophie's Choice, Mac. I appreciate you bringing up acid reflux because that's less unpleasant than going through this.
I'm just giving a history lesson. I want people to have the context of why you feel the way you feel.
Ryan is
this
playing
hurts
the
me
part...
to have to do to you, Jake, but
it doesn't. Ryan is playing the part of my anxiety-riddled brain at 2 a.m. on a night where I don't get to sleep. Just like, hey, remember all the bad things that you've done? Remember all those most embarrassing things? Here's a list.
I haven't even gotten to the list. I was
that's
telling you
what
all
I'm
the
saying.
Things that weren't gonna be on the list.
I'm so upset.
So in November of 2018, then Ozeki Takayasu was tied for the lead with then Komusubi Takakeisho. Feel old right now? After day 14.
Sure do.
Takayasu would lose to Sekiwake Mitakayumi on day 15 and failed to force a playoff with Takakeisho, who won his day 15 match earlier that day. Another case of Takayasu losing on day 15 to even fail to force a playoff. In March of 2022, Takayasu starts the basho 12-1, holds a 1-win lead after day 13. He would then go on to lose his day 14 and 15 matches, as well as a playoff against Wakataka Kage. A win in any one of those 3 final matches that he had would have given him the Yusho. And then in November of 2022, Takayasu starts the basho 12-2. Once again, holds a 1-win lead after day 14. He would lose his day 15 match as well as a playoff match against Abi. And now we have March 2025, which I would put probably at the bottom of Hurt's list, just because he did get that win on day 15. All of these other ones, he was just falling backwards, couldn't win at the end. This time, he did get that win on day 15. He did
almost got the win in the match, too.
Yeah, he did force that playoff against Onosato, but Onosato, he's a big boy. And he's strong, big boy, and is just too much for Takayasu to overcome. And so it's just another one that is added to the list of heartbreaks for Takayasu. So there's the history lesson. That's why Jake feels as bad as he does. Jake, your thoughts?
Deep breaths, Yokozuna Jake. Deep breaths.
We're going to take it over to resident Takayasu expert Jake. What are your thoughts on how all of his failures have been lined up in the last 2 minutes of show here?
Yeah.
Bad, I guess, but like you're right that this one hurts less in the same way that like getting injured hurts less after you've stretched. You know, like I've kind of there's a bit of like
you've stretched the disappointment muscle for Takayasu.
Yeah, like I knew it was coming. Like it wasn't surprising.
Jake,
Did you ever actually believe during this ride up to the less than?
Of course I did. Okay. Of course, every single one of these I've believed. Of course, that's the whole point.
That's how they get you. That's how they get you. They make you think.
Yeah, I was the only one of the four of us on the midway to actually pick him over Onosato, and he did get the regulation win over Onosato.
He did.
Yeah.
Did you stay up to watch this live, Jake?
No.
Okay.
I just knew, like, best case scenario, I wake up my child who took an extra hour to go to sleep because his sleep schedule was thrown off. Mm-hmm. And worst case scenario, it's 3 a.m. and I'm sad now instead of after a full night's sleep. So I didn't stay up. But no, what I was going to say is, like, this other, like, not just the fact that I'm kind of used to it, but, like, also it's, like, correct. You know, like, it's right that it happened this way. Like, I don't know, to translate it into something Ryan can understand. In pro wrestling, you gotta lose the last match, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this isn't the end for Takayasu. I think he'll probably have a few more like decent basho or whatever, maybe another year or few in this realm on the Bansuke, but like, we're over the hill. This feels like it was a last shot, and it feels like giving the rub to Onosato is kind of the correct thing for the storyline, and also just the proper way for this run to end for him from a fan's perspective.
But Jake, I think in pro wrestling, surely when they lose their last match, they've at least won like a couple championships or belts before that, right?
Having those 9 runner-ups means that beating Takayasu when he's on a streak like this does mean something. So, like, I think more of Onosato than I would have if he wasn't challenged for this show. So, I don't know. There's the narrative-seeking, I don't know. It's obviously a sport without script, so, like, it doesn't matter in that regard, but, like, it still feels comforting, I guess. Maybe that's how I'm looking at it. Feels comforting that Onosato looks like a freaking boss coming off after, like, having that run to end it and stay in contention and then beat Takayasu in a really grueling playoff match. Onosato looks like a champ, which means Takayasu did his job.
He's
whatever. Just let me cope however I need to. Like, this is the hardest podcasting segment ever for me. So whatever. What else you got for me?
So what I'm hearing is Takayasu only exists to make other Rikishi look better.
Honestly,
just like Abi, just like Wakataka Kage. Okay.
Wakataka Kage won a U-show against.
So did Abi.
Yeah.
So did Abi against Takayasu.
All right, he's doing his job. Just like when he was Ozeki and racking up those Junyu shows, it was when Kisune Osato was in his prime. So he was like, once he was trying to make Kisune Osato look real good, and now he's just like letting the next generation look really good.
Did Kisune Osato ever finish a single basho, like even finish it while Takayasu was an Ozeki?
Yes.
Was it that 1-10-5 he had like on his way out?
Yeah, I think September 2017. No, not September 2017. When was it?
I'm gonna look up Takayasu's history. You look up Kisune Osato's.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
So Fleric, how was your day?
The one thing I want to say is like,
it would have been September 2018.
There we go. All right, we solved it. We can move on. Sorry, go ahead.
Fleric, go!
All right. So during the playoff match, how I was half hoping that he was going to do his like special thing where he kind of shrugs a bit, like huge shrug that he always used to do as Ozeki.
The grunt.
Like maybe he was just kind of trying to pull an extra little bit power into this one match, but no, he kept firm, like kind of saying like, no, I only did that when I was Ozeki. I'm not worthy of doing my amazing shrug. I'm going to try to win this match without. And it didn't work. Maybe he should have shrugged.
Was it
Takayasu shrugged?
Yeah.
All right, go Ryan.
I was gonna say, didn't Kota Shogaku do his like famous stretch like just the one last time when he was gonna retire?
Yep.
So yeah, I honestly at this point, unless it's for a significant playoff match or something like that, if Takayasu does that shrug, it's like, oh no, he's done. Man, he's gonna retire.
Let's not harp too much on Takayasu's past. Let us talk about him just a little bit more. This is a kind of a little bit of a revival for Takayasu. Back in 2022, that was the year of heartbreak for Takayasu, and he looked good throughout that year. Never mind, he was injured quite a bit. But in the 3 that he wasn't injured,
in the 3 he wasn't injured.
3 June U shows out of 4. That was a hell of a run. Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, he's been struggling with injuries pretty much on and off since then. And then about the best he was doing was about a 10-5 every once in a while. But then to come back, he got this 12-3, and he looked really good at points of this. He looked very strong, except when he was the soul leader. Then he kind of faded back a bit. But yeah, strong win against Hoshoryu. Got that win. He beat all of the Sanyaku with the exception of Kirishima. This basho, like Takayasu looked good, and and he's 35 years old, but we know with Tamawashi, age is just a number, baby. And if he can,
Takayasu's on the verge of death.
Jesus.
Like Tamawashi is a mutant. Like Takayasu, like I do not feel that he has that another 5 years in him the way that Tamawashi
probably
did.
not.
Oh,
but
man.
I'm just saying, he looked really good. He showed the Takayasu that was Ozeki way back in 2019, and showed like if he had his health, who knows where Takayasu would be right now, especially in this era of a bunch of 12-win U shows. We know 12 wins is the maximum for Takayasu, so he could have racked up a couple in there had his health not betrayed him.
Yeah, 12 wins is his maximum. I just want to call out the match on day 13, I think against Takeru Fuji. That was like some solid Supari from that guy. Yeah. I think that was a match where it's just like once he started going and he just kind of kept going and going. I was like, hot damn, this guy is ready to get that Yusho. Like
That's my favorite match. Yeah. His first last thing was his first Junior show was 2013. This guy has been like at the cusp of winning a Yusho for 13
over a decade
years. Or 12 years. Yeah. Oh man.
All right.
Dude's a talent.
Let's move on.
I'm hopeful that one last thing I want to say is I'm hopeful.
Matt, get yours in the chamber here too.
No, I'm good.
I am hopeful that like he's gonna hopefully next basho be able to keep this form and at least compete and like see how he can do with everyone else, because he was in the joy. He had like a full like a really tough schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Here's open.
Yeah, the order will be different, but he will face effectively the same collection of ranks next time around.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's talk about our Yusho winner a bit more here. Onosato on the verge of Yokozuna promotion. This is a third straight basho where we get to talk about this, because this is our third consecutive basho with an Ozeki winner. The first time since I think it was like 2002 to 2003 where we have 3 consecutive Yusho won by Ozeki, and the first time since 1997 through 1998 where each of those Ozeki were a different Ozeki. So hasn't happened a while where we've had Ozeki winning the Yusho like this, which is nice. I was going to say when you're absent of Yokozuna, which we kind of were at the end here. Come up with what's going on, Hosho? Are you supposed to fix that for us? But it is nice to see that our guys at the top are winning. We're not having Tamawashi, Ichinojo, Abi Yushos occurring here. But I mean, we got to talk about Onosato has almost completed the sumo speedrun. He got the start screen skip that allowed him to start at Makushita Tsukidashi. In Makushita, he got to skip 3 divisions. He got that glitch. He didn't quite get the gold split on Makushita to Makuuchi. Hakuoho has the gold split on that one, but he did gold split getting from Makuuchi up to Ozeki, fastest in history, and he's looking to finish off that with next basho, getting a Yusho and getting up to Yokozuna faster than anybody in history.
That was actually well done, Ryan. Good speedrun vernacular.
Thank you.
I was like, it's good. It's like, hey, not bad. I liked it.
Speedrunning is Ryan's other favorite sport.
Yeah.
Yes.
To put that in perspective, Onosato this is only the 3rd time in his career that he wasn't at his career high rank. Like that's how fast everything is going, and that's only because you can't do like consecutive promotions from Ozeki forever. So
here's another thing. So Onosato didn't have the greatest start to his Ozeki career. He went 9-6 and 10-5. But with this Yusho, he ended the longest streak of not winning a Yusho in his Makuuchi career at 2 basho. Think about that. This man has never gone more than 2 basho without winning a Yusho in the top division.
He was in a real slump there.
Yeah. He busted out of his career worst slump to take up this Yusho. And like we said, his 12th career tournament ever and 8th in the top division. He is now tied with Mitake Yumi for the active Rikishi with the most Yusho at 3, which is probably more an indictment on sumo as a whole that our active leader has 3.
And Mitake Yumi's had like 12 extra years on him, right?
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, oh.
No, he started in like, I think 2016-ish. So like,
But look at where
2014.
But look where he is now.
Regardless.
Like,
my number was slightly off. My point was correct.
Yeah. And another reminder, he now has 3 Yusho in 12 total career bashos. The previous fastest debut to first Yusho was 14 by Yokozuna Wajima. So, like, everything with Onosato that he's doing is absolutely historic and never before seen. But there's still room to grow for Onosato. He had the chance to get to 13 wins this basho, but the one match that is just really baffling to me is day 13. He just got dominated by a 6-9 Oho. Oho was struggling most of this basho, and then just Oho had his way with Onosato for some reason. When Onosato really had a chance to kind of keep moving forward, keep pace with Takayasu, that's what allowed him to fall back of Takayasu by 1, and then Takayasu would lose to Chura no Umi on day 14. But also the one thing that's kind of, I'm like I said, future Yokozuna Onosato, I fully believe. But I'm not the most impressed with this Yusho. It was 12 wins. He did lose a couple of ones against struggling Rikishi. But also he only fought one Rikishi this basho that had 10 or more wins. And that was Takayasu, and he lost to him. Everybody else he fought this basho had under 10 wins, which is really weird. I don't know how often that's going to happen. So he didn't fight like the toughest crew. He got to skip Hoshoryu. He got an injured Koto Sakura. He got an injured Kirishima. And he still dropped 3 matches on the way. Had he had a fully intact Hoshoryu and Koto Sakura, this could have even been a 10-5 record for him. Not saying it would have been, but it could have been.
Yeah. Well, part of that, though, is that other than Takayasu, you got to go all the way down to Maegashira 7 to find somebody with double digits.
Yep.
It wasn't like a complete cataclysm or anything like that, but the guys up at the top did not do very good in general. Yeah, let's see.
And
Koto
when they
Sakura
brought up, so I was just going to say, when they brought up guys like Aonishiki, Chura no Umi, they lost enough to the lower Sanyaku people that they never really had to feed them to Onosato. They wanted Onosato was the top guy on the Bansuke, so they wanted to keep his schedule fighting the people that he kind of needed to fight, like the Sekiwake and the Ozeki. They wanted to keep that intact as much as possible, which they were able to do. And ultimately, none of these other guys really factored into the Yusho race, so it wasn't a huge deal, but would have been nice to see Onosato versus Aonishiki, but I know that's really not gonna happen because of the huge rank difference, unless Aonishiki was in the lead for the Yusho at one point, which he never was.
Yeah, he was mathematically still in it on the last day.
Yes,
but
until Takayasu won,
Right. So, between, let's see, everybody except for Onosato, Hoshoryu, and Takayasu, every single one of them, from Koto Sakura at Ozeki all the way down to Tamawashi at Maegashira 7, 6 wins to 9 wins. Every single one of them. So, like, I'm sorry, Takanosho absolutely crapped the bed. I forgot about that.
3-12.
Not good.
But yeah, the Joy and Sanyaku ranks, other than Onosato and Takayasu, just kind of, I don't know, high levels of parity. Everybody could beat everybody. Yep. Nobody was particularly on, but also nobody really looked that bad. I guess you could make the argument that Koto Sakura still hasn't regained his good form. I will absolutely strongly make the argument that Koto Sakura has not regained his top form. Agreed. But like, other than that, everyone just looked like a little bit okay. And yeah, it was That was one of the other things that I'll remember about this basho to try and distract me from the heartache was like there wasn't really anybody standing out other than the winners, you know? You got Churanomi, Aonishiki's debut was pretty neat. But yeah, other than that, like Tamawashi and Onokatsu being the only other guys in double-digit wins, like who cares?
Yeah, overall, there were 5. Other than Onosato and Takayasu, there were 5 with double-digit wins in the
Yeah, that seems
entire
super
upper
low.
division. Like, that is unheard
And
of.
almost all of them at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, and almost all of them are all M7 and below. So I'm like, what is going on here?
Can't forget Toki Hayate, like I have for every single day of my life ever.
I don't blame you, but still,
not
it's like,
sure-
wow.
I'm not sure his name has been uttered on this show before.
But 10 and 5, I mean, hey.
I guess.
Yeah. I was so confused to see him have like a match later in the day. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, I think
I've
he fought
seen you.
Kirishima on the final day, and
Yeah.
that allowed Kirishima a pretty easy victory to get his Kachikoshi and stay in
Yeah.
the Sanyaku ring.
Did you think that was staged a little bit? You're feeding a guy from the bottom
Staged
all
is
the
the
way
wrong
up to the
word.
top.
No,
Okay, fine.
absolutely not. They wanted to give Toki Hayate a match against Sanyaku because theoretically, Toki Hayate could have been fighting for the U show that day. So they wanted to get him against somebody in the Sanyaku before it was
Yeah.
all said and done because he was just like coming from behind. They hadn't really factored him into the scheduling before. No, that wasn't staged.
Kirishima was absolutely the favorite by a wide margin, but I don't think that means that there was anything untoward. But yeah, it was like, well, that happened how I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
But
Everybody
that was kind of
that
it.
had a chance to get in that theoretical 5-way playoff was fighting against other Sanyaku Rikishi. And so Toki Hayate was just doing the same there.
Yeah.
He was the lowest ranked of the Maegashira in that situation, so he fought the lowest ranked Sanyaku.
But an M18 against Takomo Subi. That's
What do you want? Do you want Toki Hayate to win against a M6 and get his way into an 11-4 playoff for the U show, having fought nobody in the Sanyaku?
I still think he probably would have lost, but
Nah. Still.
No, I understand where you're coming from, Mac. Like, but yeah, it's I don't know. Other than the U show race narrative, it felt kind of underwhelming, I guess, is the overall point that I'm kind of driving at.
Mm-hmm.
There were only like a couple silly or outrageous cool moments, you know. It was it was a very top heavy card, you would say, if it was another sport, you know, like the top line narrative, boom, that's a banger, that's super interesting. Almost everything below that, though, is just kind of whatever. I guess we'll see where they're at next basho.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to just quickly say my stance usually. I enjoy some parody. It's good. Granted, like less kind of standouts and stuff, but like I still think we have some really close and tough matches in that. So
Chaos.
I'll slightly disagree, but I do get what you're saying. Like there weren't enough Richie at the top that were just on fire and like really fighting for it until like the ones that did like into the second week, and they were kind of the ones who kind of really gave it their all.
Sure.
Yeah, like around the 10-day mark, you had Takeru Fuji. He's 9-2. He's tied for the lead, and then they started feeding him to the Sanyaku guys. He started eating losses. Tamawashi, he started getting higher matches. He started getting losses. Like everybody that they started feeding to the middling kind of Sanyaku guys, they were just losing to them. So that kind of prevented the matches of like Onosato versus Aonishiki or Tamawashi, because those guys just kept losing. So there's no reason to give them to the leaders because they were losing to the lesser Sanyaku, which kind of made it so that it wasn't as fun like it was last time with Keen Bozon and Oho beating these Sanyaku
Fun.
guys.
I like that. Fun.
Maybe interesting.
I think I will say is that it sounds like the Joy is doing what the Joy should. Like, you know, they proving that they belong there. Like people get bumped up, usually they end up winning. Aonishiki was kind of the one exception. I'm really excited to see how he does. But yeah, they were just kind of trading wins. Too many of them losing to each other this time around, except Onosato, who is able to be consistent, and Takayasu as well.
Let's move on. We've talked about Takayasu and Onosato here for about 40 minutes. Our first time Yokozuna Hoshoryu, he was supposed to come in be the healthy guy. He's 25 years old, not a whole lot of injury issues. He was supposed to be our Yokozuna that's always here, that's always finishing the tournaments. And here we are on day 10 after losing 4 times. And to like Ichi Yamamoto, Max Chump, to Chiyoshima, my Chump, to Takayasu. That guy can't win a Yusho. Why are you losing to Takayasu? And then he pulls out of the tournament. The cartilage never got tightened up.
I have the power. I'm like headed right now. Like the rage that has come from Hoshoryu. I'm like,
Let's just put this episode down here. Let's send it to the Glue
I felt like
Factory.
Obi-Wan. It was like, you are the chosen one. Everyone said you bring balance to the Sun Yaku, not
All
destroy
right.
it.
Ryan, you got the reaction you wanted. Go on.
I'm just disappointed in Hoshoryu, really. Honestly, I was just hoping he'd hang around. But Fleric, is this a sign? Was Hoshoryu promoted prematurely? Even before he pulled out, he was 5-4. That's not very Yokozuna like, Fleric.
Not very Yokozuna like indeed. And I know, I think I peeked this question early and actually had some time to do some research on that.
Oh my god!
Ooh.
I know this is interesting.
Everybody, sit back.
Yep.
So
I got my tea.
So I looked up. I figured out. I magicked the query of Sumo DB, and I figured out Yokozuna, like when they were promoted, how their first basho was.
Wait, who gave Fleric access to Sumo DB?
Who gave him the link? How to do that?
How did you?
Don't worry. Normally, the desire to do some research will keep me well away. Don't worry about that at all. But no, I was looking at the records of this, and what I will say is it doesn't look too good for Hoshoryu, at least compared to like the basho right as soon as they got promoted. So I looked at all the way back to Wakanohana 1, 1950, like 58, whatever. I want to include all the 6 bashos in a year, kind of think on that. So of that, the number of Yokozuna that got Yusho the first time, there were 5 Yokozuna who got a Yusho the first time through. The people got a junior Yusho, there were 7 of them. This is going to be a healthy one. The ones that got double-digit Kachikoshi, so 10 wins or more, there were 12 of them. And then we had people who just got Kachikoshi, like a 8 or 7 or 9 and 6, there were 3. And now here's the big one. The ones who got Makekoshi or just went Kyujo, there were 3 of them. And all of them went Kyujo, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but it was like Asashoryu and Shionofuji that went Kyujo, and surely he'll be fine for the rest of his Yokozuna career, right?
Right? Please?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. Well, that's the ultimate point I'm trying to get to. But to finish this side of it, it's like all the way back to 1958. There was very, very few who actually went to Makekoshi and Kyujo route. But like you kind of said before, one of those was Chiyonofuji. And I don't know if we know too much about Chiyonofuji's career, but he kicked freaking ass.
Yeah, he did okay.
As a Yokozuna.
Reportedly, pretty good.
Yeah. Because I want to be able to like have the cred of saying it before you reveal it. I took one guess of which Yokozuna you would be most unfavorably comparing him to. I went straight to Fuda Haguro. And yes, he did go Kyujo in his first Yokozuna basho.
Oh yeah.
Because of course he did.
Yeah, the Yokozuna who famously never got a Yusho after being promoted to Yokozuna.
Yeah.
Luckily, Hoshoryu's already got 2 in the chamber, so you don't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I will say is like it doesn't look too good with his current form, but it's obviously some kind of injury. He was probably opening like some kind of jar that was way too tight, and like he hurt his elbow, as one does.
I don't know how else you'd heard it. Yeah.
Hey.
Well, in order to open a tight jar, you have to loosen something within your body. That's just how physics works. And so we got that loose cartilage.
Is this like a Full Metal Alchemist thing where like
equivalent exchange, man.
Tightness is conserved. Something else must loosen.
It's the laws of physics, Jake.
The shoulder, the wrist.
I thought you were an
jar is
aerospace engineer.
open.
I thought you knew this.
I didn't get that far in school.
So yeah, it's not as well known Yokozuna responsibility, along with like the birthday parties and bat mitzvahs, but also opening really tight jars. And apparently that is zero sum of where tightness must be conserved, and you lose it in your elbow. So There was a quite the backlog, I guess I would say, after Teruno Fuji with his
Honestly,
knees.
that explains a lot of things about my 30s.
Oh no.
My mattress is less soft than it used to be, but in exchange, my back is nice and stiff. Does that count?
So all in all, what I want to say is like there's two examples of maybe too soon. It's kind of hard to say, but we have two examples of Futahaguro who went on to have a terrible Yokozuna career by the numbers. It's not even arguable. Like, did not do well at all. But there's also Chuno Fuji who went on to be amazing. So it's crapshoot to know whether or not how he's going to be. He's obviously injured. He just had like 2 double-digit wins in Jin Yusho. One was a 14-1, the other one is 12-3. He's obviously really, really good. And he proved he's most consistent, like best Rikshi right now. He's obviously hurt, but I think when he's going to come back, he's going to do just fine, what we're kind of used to seeing from the guy. So I'm going to throw down and say he's not too early. I know on the midway, Nathan kind of disagree with that. He thinks it was a little bit too early. He wants to make sure like he can develop a little bit more. But I think he's proven that he's the best guy right now. I think he's still fine.
Why
Still
can't
doing
you
great.
develop as a Yokozuna? You don't.
Right.
You don't have to stop learning sumo.
I
if
agree
you've
with you.
earned it based on the rules we've been given, it's not like you have to stop developing and stop increasing your sumo at that point. He can just keep getting better if he wants to.
I agree with you in principle, but I think that like, yeah, I don't know. The ideal Yokozuna is already by far the best guy. You know, like when Teruno Fuji got promoted, it's like, well, obviously, like there's no second place that's anywhere near him, you know? Whereas like we discussed it in the last couple basho, but like all 3 of the Ozekis that we had for that Hoshoryu, Kodazakura, Onosato section, all 3 of those guys were awesome. They were great. None of them seemed dramatically past any of the others. But like, I don't know. I think the JSA shoots themselves in the foot a little bit by like giving the qualifications that you need to meet in order to get promoted. And then when somebody meets those qualifications, you can't just like not promote them.
No, not like that.
If you win the Yusho, you get to be Yokozuna. And then he does it, and like, what are you gonna do? Of course you got to do it. You told him you would do that. So like, yeah, I don't know. I think that the YDC, the Yokozuna Deliberation Council, that makes the decisions on Ozeki and Yokozuna promotions,
Not
I think
Ozeki,
they
just Yokozuna.
Is it not them?
Yes. No.
Okay. Regardless, same goes for Ozeki. Whatever. It's the same issue. I think by spelling out the qualifications, they kind of remove their own ability to make it seem like they are wiser or have judgment beyond the normal, just regular sumo fans that are watching sumo, you know? And I think that if you're going to lay out the qualifications to make Yokozuna, you can't pretend that you did it too early or whatever. You told the guy you were going to promote him, and then he did the thing you told him to do. So, like, I don't know. I hope that Hoshoryu can have a good Yokozuna career, and I kind of expect him to do pretty well. But yeah, it's definitely a bummer and a bit of a foot in his own mouth, because he absolutely explicitly said he will finish the basho, right?
Yep.
Like that's a big one that makes him look kind of silly here.
Yeah. Ultimately, my take, he was hurt. I don't care what happened. He got hurt. I don't care what happened to this basho. It doesn't change my opinion. If he did that while being like, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen and I don't know what's going on, you guys, I'm so sorry. If that had happened, then I'd be worried. But he's hurt. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. Let's have this conversation in a year when we get some more Yokozuna bashos under him.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I think less of him, but I can absolutely sympathize that he's gonna have to rightfully eat some crow over saying that and then very much immediately not doing that.
It's not the greatest look when people already were like, I don't know if you deserve this.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna finish the basho no matter what. I'm gonna finish it. And sorry, I gotta go.
Yep.
No,
Nope.
Oh, it hurts. I'm sorry, I gotta quit. It's an optics thing. It's only optics, but it's still less than ideal.
Yeah. Let's talk briefly about our last Ozeki, Kotozakura. He did scrape together the 8 wins he needed to keep his Ozeki rank. Looked like he pulled the classic Takayasu, get your 8 wins with a couple of days to spare, and then just coast the way home. He didn't do the full Takayasu and go Kyujo, but he did not put a whole lot of effort forward in those last 2 matches. I will say, before he hit 8 and stop trying, he was looking better. I was very concerned for him like the first 4 or 5 days. We were seeing a lot of the same thing of Kotozakura's. Like, as soon as he's moving backwards, it's just going all the way out of the dojo. He just couldn't stop himself. Obviously, still signs of injury there. We know he was training plenty, so he wasn't out of shape. It's just the injury bothering him too much, but he was able to. Didn't look like the 14-1 Kotozakura, obviously, but he was doing enough to win those matches to get to those 8 wins. But Mac, this is 2 basho in a row where Kotozakura is not really looking like Kotozakura. Do we need to wonder if Kotozakura can make it to the end of the year as Ozeki?
I'm scared. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's like, I'm actually scared for Kotozakura because this is such a far cry from where we thought he could go. He was on the cusp of Yokozuna-hood, and now, based off what we're seeing, it's like, did somebody put something in the water? I mean, is the chanko bad? I mean,
he's drinking from Kirishima's water bottle.
But did they put pork in the pot? The chanko? I mean, like, what happened? I want to know what is eating Kotozakura because he is not looking good.
Props to you, Tsukebito Mac. Pork in the chanko, that's a deep cut. I like that one. Good reference.
Thank you, Yokozuna.
If you're new to sumo, when you're making chanko, especially during tournament time, you don't put 4-legged animals in it because a 4-legged animal has their hands on the ground. Whereas in sumo, obviously you don't do that. So you put things like chicken in there or fish, things that don't touch the ground with their hands. So I see you, Tsukebito Mac.
I learned.
Good pull.
I learned, Yokozuna Jake. Thank you.
What part of a fish could touch the dohyo while still being considered in?
The bottom of the tail, obviously.
Okay. They got a balance.
They just kind of look up and
just Billy Bassing the whole thing. No,
yeah,
I'm worried for
stand, obviously.
I am worried for Kotozakura. Bringing it back. I don't know what is going on with him, whether he's fighting an injury, whether it's mental. This is worrying. I think he can maintain. It's just we don't want to see him maintain. We want to see him thrive and succeed and get back to. I want him to be on the rope run. I want more Yokozuna at the top, or at least somebody who can compete at a higher caliber. Because 8 and 7, oh honey, no.
Right.
Yeah, I mean he's got one of his knees wrapped up, and I think that's the prevailing theory out there. I don't know that Kotozakura has ever spoken about it, but it seems like he's dealing with some sort of knee issue. So hopefully, I mean, they got the Jungyo tour coming up, so it's not a lot of. He's got 2 months of rest coming his way. I'm hoping. Not hoping, but if it continues to be an issue, I wouldn't mind seeing him go Kyujo for the entirety of the next basho, then come back, give himself plenty of rest, come back nice and strong. Or I feel decent that he's going to make it to the end of the year as Ozeki, but I'm not as confident as I was, obviously, after his 14-1 U show. I'm not 100% confident. That's sad.
He kind of is starting to remind me of Kirishima, of where it's like one basho kind of off is fine, but 2 in a row is when you start to kind of wonder.
We got a pattern forming.
Yeah, I hope not. I love Richie doing well. I think he has a style which is pretty good to be long term. So hopefully he keeps with it.
All right, let's just talk about some other Rikishi a little less in depth here. Daisho goes 9-6, really doesn't keep his baby Ozeki run going. He had 11 wins last time. I mean, technically, he's got 20 over 2 basho. If he gets like 13-2, maybe Ozeki Daisho. It's still possible, but it's harder after a 9-6. Oho struggles in his first basho in the Sanyaku. He'll drop out of the Sanyaku in May, going 6-9. Did get that good win over Onosato there, but I don't know if he really picked up too much else that was great. No, I don't think he beat anybody else in the Sanyaku.
No,
he beat Abi. Never mind, he beat Abi, but Abi also went 6-9. So
not a super impressive follow up for his from his incredible January, but I don't know. Like we've been saying about Hoshoryu, and these two guys are like the same exact age and have the same exact amount of experience in sumo. Oho's like certainly fine as far as like Sanyaku, Joy, Upper Maegashira level guy. But yeah, seeing this follow up to his best ever basho last time, maybe this is his ceiling. You know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But like, yeah, I definitely would have wanted to see more than 6 wins in order to think that he had anything going on long term here.
What you got, Flick?
I was just surprised that Sekiwake was his first Sanyaku rank.
Yep.
But yeah, he did have 11-4, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I will say.
Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, as I'm updating the our Champ Chump series points every day, I'll just go through, look at the Bonsuke at the end of the day, make sure I've got everybody with the right number of wins or losses, and then I'm looking at Oho's score every day with a losing record, and like, yep, Oho's got 8 losses. You love to see it. Let's see the next guy.
Just say it to yourself every time you go by him.
Just like, yeah.
Yeah, that tracks. That tracks.
Yep. You love to see it.
I don't know. I guess other Sanyaku guys like Daisho, I don't know. I kind of was hoping for more from him, but yeah, I think he's similar to like I think Daisho is like following the Mitakayumi track, just like a year or two behind. You know, he's just the next guy that's permanently Sekiwake and can't get better than that.
Daisho has 22 basho in the Sanyaku ranks. It'll be 23 in May. So yeah, he's creeping up that list of longtime Sanyaku Rikshi that haven't made it to Ozeki. He's not quite at the Mitakayumi levels. Obviously, Mitakayumi eventually got to Ozeki.
Yeah, that was like a lifetime achievement award more than anything.
I mean,
no, I know he earned it.
You always
like,
say
still.
that about Mitakayumi, and now on the let's talk about him now. Mitakayumi 6-9 from Maegashira 17. Looks like he is going to be dropping down to Juryo. But in his Ozeki run, he was Sekiwake the whole time. And he got 33/3. He went 9-11-4, and 9-11-13. That 13 getting him a Yusho. It's pretty standard Ozeki run.
No, I know. You're right.
Yeah, I think I remember he had like a huge like time in Sanyaku of just always getting 9 and 6, right?
Yes,
like Sekiwake. Yeah,
Daisho-esque.
He had 29 total basho in the Sanyaku ranks, excluding his Ozeki run of 4 basho. But one of those 29 as Sekiwake or Komosubi was Sekiwake after being demoted. So he was Sekiwake or Komosubi 28 times before he was promoted to Ozeki. And so Daisho's just a year away from matching that, which Daisho absolutely could. Daisho's almost got a year straight of winning records. I mean, he'll probably get like a 7 or 8, 6-9 here and a basho or 2, but then he'll come right back with a 10-5, 9-6, get right back in the Sanyaku.
There's almost nobody in sumo that has a better defined ceiling to me than Daisho.
Yeah, absolutely. Kirishima, little disappointing for him, or kind of not as disappointing if you already like moved the bar back for him when you heard like, oh, he was hurt coming in, like he had to stop training for a day or two the week leading up to the basho. An 8-7 for Kirishima following his 11-4, so he can't keep his baby Ozeki run going either, really. But he does get the winning record. He'll stay in the Sanyaku ranks for next time.
Yeah, he'll jump up to Sekiwake, right?
He should jump up to Sekiwake. Yep.
Nice.
Takeru Fuji So as I had mentioned before, he started up 9-2. He got matched up with Onosato on day 12. That was his first matchup with a Sanyaku Rikshi this basho, and he lost to Onosato, and he never won again. He finished 0-4 in his final 4 matches, ending at 9-6. Those matchups were against Onosato, Kotozakura, Aonishiki, and Wakamoto Haru. So not really an encouraging end for Takeru Fuji here, just kind of him beating up on a bunch of guys ranked below him or around the same rank as him. As soon as that step up went, he crumbled, went 0-4. Do we pump the brakes on Takeru Fuji hype at all following that little streak that he had at the end there?
I don't think so. I think that he's not a Onosato level prospect, maybe, but I wouldn't say pumping the brakes. I would say maybe like
Lightly
tapping.
apply. Apply.
Let's define what the expectations are. This is like what the youngest or quickest get Yusho from like where he was at, right? And like
Yes,
broke
quickest,
records.
but not youngest, right?
Yes. Because, Takeru Fuji's 25 years old, and he'll be 26 before the May Basho.
He's the same age as like Hoshoryu and Oho. Like he just spent more of his developmental time in amateur sumo.
Yes. But
So
I think he was the quickest to win a Yusho from starting in Jonokuchi.
Yeah. So I feel like there was so much hype. He's going to be like the next big prospect, almost kind of Onosato, where he's going to be up there, probably up in the Ozeki really quick, and maybe he will do even better. Any pushback on that? That's where I kind of what the expectations were, even now. Okay.
I definitely like 9-6. Your first time in the single digit Maegashira, just fine, absolutely fine. If we're talking like pre Takeru Fuji era, the person he's being compared to is kind of himself and Onosato. Prior to that, he's doing great. That's just fine. Absolutely okay.
We're going to have to start doing with Onosato what we say with Hakuoho. Don't compare people to Hakuoho, and don't compare people's rise through the top division to Onosato. It's just not fair. These are both generational. Hakuoho for his entire career, Onosato for the beginning of his career.
It's the same stupid ass way that what's his name shattered our illusions that the lowest ranked guy in the top division can win a Yusho. Tokushoryu, thank you. Like there's forever going to be like, well, this guy's a pretty hot prospect, but he didn't win a Yusho in his debut tournament. Like, I guess he's just fine. No, I don't know. I think Takeru Fuji, he's doing great. Yes, it's a bummer that he got those last 4 days, but 3 of those last 4 were against guys that were like doing pretty well. Losing to Koto Sakura right at the end there. Or I take it back. Was that Koto Sakura's 8th win?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
it was
okay. So it was the last match of the tournament where Koto Sakura was trying. So maybe that's an okay loss to take. But regardless, he's going to move up to Ryan. What would you expect? Maegashira, like
3 to 4.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And if he does well again there in the full joy with a full joy schedule, great. But I'm not worried. I guess I'll say that after this particular basho.
All right. You're kind of like throwing down, so I'll ask you this question. Is he still a lock for Ozeki?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So pumping the brakes.
If that's how you define pumping the brakes, sure. Then yes, then I would agree with that. I would say
classic Flair gotcha moment.
Gotcha. I'm absolutely pwned.
You knew.
Personally, I'd favor him for Ozeki, but I don't think that he's a lock.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree with that? Would you put the odds between 50 and 100%?
I don't know that there's anybody in the top division right now that I would define as a lock for Ozeki.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's accurate.
I have no idea
whatever.
who the next Ozeki's going to be.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing I would say, like his match against Kotozakura kind of made me wonder, like a lot of his stuff he's really, really strong and good at pushing, almost kind of like an Abi level, like where he uses his traps to great effect to get that pushing stuff going on. But against Kotozakura, it's like he was like not getting all that much headway. and he was so overextended, and that's when Kotozakura was like, "Oh no, I'm just gonna Takikomi you off to the side."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wonder if it's one of those things where like the meta shifts of where like the last couple matchups where it looked like they were against big boys, like Kotozakura, Ao Nishiki, and Wakamoto Haru, I guess was kind of a bit more of a mid.
Oh,
But it's
Nishiki's
like-
pretty small.
Yeah, he's not the biggest.
Is he pretty small?
Yeah.
I feel like he's so big.
He's definitely
he's new.
below average.
Okay,
He's listed as 125 kilos.
sounds like
That's
pretty
not
big.
very big.
No.
No, 125 for kilos. That's not big. That's like barely 300 pounds. If even
Takeru
that.
Fuji is 141 kilos.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, you're talking about the meta, though.
Yeah, meta. I wonder if he's gonna start struggling against some of the bigger people like Kotozakura, because like the pushing game wasn't working all that well. So I'll be kind of curious. Especially, he's definitely been proving himself during like mid Banzuke and low Banzuke, like big boys. Whether or not he can get against the top level big boys, whether that's gonna be a wall or not, will be the thing I'll be looking at.
One of the things that Takeru Fuji makes me think of is, have you guys seen Megamind with Will Ferrell?
Yes.
So Megamind is he's a super villain and he's bored because there's no one to challenge him. So he creates a superhero. And so like the second and third act of the movie are him dealing with this superhero he's created. And Megamind wants to be a classic supervillain, and he's like, haha, we're sparring. Yes, we're having fun. Like we're quipping at each other as we battle in the streets. And he says to this new superhero that he's created, he goes something along the lines of like, all right, now it's your turn to say something silly or whatever. And the other guy's just going, ah, just beating him with a stick. Like, that's kind of what Takeru Fuji makes me think of. All these other guys in the top division are like, haha, let's do sumo. All right, now it's your turn to try a move. And Takeru Fuji's just like, no, and he's just sprinting forward full power. And like, a lot of the time that works. Most of the time even. But yeah, it definitely seems like some of the more experienced guys are slowing down his slowing down relatively, because he's not going slow, but like relatively slowing down his rise.
Mm-hmm.
I do also want to call it. Looked like he had a black eye at some point.
Oh,
Yeah.
real bad.
And when that faded is when he started losing.
Yeah.
Black eye Takeru Fuji's OP, but once he loses the black eye, then
He has to take a little injury. So he's like a barbarian. Like as soon as he's injured, he just rages and just goes
for sure.
absolutely
after
nuts.
his ligament injury when he won the U show, came back and won that match.
He's a barbarian.
I mean, we've mentioned him before as like one of the guys that's kind of an anime protagonist, so that trope is out there.
All right, let's move on from Takeru Fuji. Let's give some love to Tamawashi.
Yeah.
This man, this absolute beaut of a man, is 40 years old, and he's just getting double-digit wins like it's nothing. He's fought every match he was allowed to for 21 consecutive years. And then we have guys like Hokuto Fuji and Mitaka Yumi that are fading hard while being 8 years younger than Tamawashi. And this is not shade at Hokuto Fuji or Mitaka Yumi. Sumo is a brutal sport and wears your body down quickly. But my God, Tamawashi, how does he keep doing this? Like the last 40-year-old in the top division, I think, was Amanishiki, and he struggled to get like an 8-7 when he came back from Juryo, I think. And they might have even given him like a fighting spirit prize for having the gall of being 40 years old in the top division. And here's Tamawashi at 40, just get double-digit wins. The man is amazing and like looks like he can just keep going for another couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's absolutely no specific things that are slowing him down enough for us to be worried about.
That we know of. That we know of.
No, that's not, well, exactly, that we know of. There's nothing visually wrong with him, you know? Like he's clearly wrestling the same way he wrestled like 6 years ago when we went and watched in person, you know, or even 10 years ago when we like watched our first tournaments. Like it's just Tamawashi. He's just doing his thing. He was old when we started watching sumo.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and confirm and make everybody on this podcast angry. Amanishiki did indeed come back from Juryo. He was at Maegashira 13. He was 8-7, and they gave him a Kanto show. And that was his last winning record in the top division.
I feel like Tamawashi's getting robbed then.
I know. Think of all the Sancho that Tamawashi could be getting. How old was Aminishiki at that time? He was like 40.
He should like straight up file a lawsuit for discrimination.
Excuse me, I have Yusho under my
being
belt.
discriminated against because I'm much better at sumo than Aminishiki was when he was 40.
Aminishiki was 39. Like Tamawashi should have been cashing these in for the past couple of years. This is
absolute
This is an outrage.
It reminds me of that meme where the first thing it says, me at 35 or whatever. I've got half my life ahead of me. I'm doing great. You know, my future's looking good. And then sports announcer, here he comes, the oldest player in the league. He's 32 years old. What a miracle.
Yeah. I think he needs to start showing up to the basho in a wheelchair. I think that might be what he needs to do to get those.
He just needs to sell it better. He needs a better PR team.
Yeah, he really can't elevate his delivery much. So what he has to do is lower expectations. So show up bandaged head to toe like Ikioi used to do.
Oh, Ikioi.
Wheel in a wheelchair all the way down the aisle and like use crutches to get sitting down on
oversized wheelchair.
Yeah.
Wait, that's designed to take you out of the ring, not bring you in. Oh dear God, he's doing
What's that you say, Sonny? You gotta speak up for old Mr. Tamawashi.
I gotta throw the salt. Well, how high?
Oh, my knee's acting up. It's gonna rain.
Oh God, don't do that.
Yeah, that actually does happen to you.
Stop
if you're younger than us and you think that's an old guy joke, that does actually start happening.
I still feel like that's an old guy joke. That's never happened.
Yeah, well, you don't
get better knees.
Yeah,
I was about to say you have better knees.
I was gonna say get a worse body, like do more sports, then it will start happening to you.
Sorry, I'm trying to fix my internet.
For those just listening, Ryan just disappeared off the screen and then just casually came back up like, sorry.
Ryan's like, let me distract from my cowardice of not showing up to Iowa Sumo Club practice.
Not coward at all. Just don't want to.
Well, I'm looking at
only
this
cowards
list.
don't want to.
I'm looking at this list, and there is somebody who's not on here that I need to call out.
Hey,
and that is my boy.
Shishi, we go through my list first. We go through my list, and then I ask for your guys's. This is how it's always been done. Don't jump ahead because I'm trying to fix my internet, which I'm now hardwired in, which I should have been from the beginning.
Ryan, we showed on the midway that we don't actually need you. We're kind of humoring you, really.
I don't know. I listened to the midway. I feel like you kind of need me.
I don't know. Those guys are definitely nicer. There's that.
Doesn't mean entertaining.
That's true. That's true.
Sorry. That could sound like I was being mean to them, and no, that is not what I meant.
Look at him. He can't even follow through on being mean.
Yeah.
I was trying to disparage Fleric and Jake, not Nathan and Mencken.
My apologies if that came out wrong. I was only trying to be mean to them, not to you.
Yes. Sorry, Mac. I apologize. My hubris got ahead of me.
He got his first Kachikoshi. I'm just so happy.
Yes,
okay.
your little boy, your little giant elephant baby, Shishi.
Yeah. With the weird butt wiggle. I'm like, what are you doing? Huh? What are you doing?
He did tone it down going through, but come on, man. That was
I was like, okay, stop.
It was like day 4 or 5. I'm like, dude, you've got to stop. They're literally laughing at you before the Tachi-ai.
Go Flash.
I was gonna say I'm sad about that because he toned it down. He essentially stopped. Like he got told to stop. Just peer pressured to stop doing his butt wiggle.
The crowd was laughing at him.
So keep with it. That's his brand of sumo. You don't have to say anything against that.
People laugh at me in public all the time. That doesn't mean I'm going to change what I do.
Yeah. You should, though.
Yeah, they laugh a lot, so.
No, it reminded me, there was a while ago, Ryuden did the same thing for like a basho. We was just twerking the butt like crazy before the Tachi-ai, and I think they probably told him, like, dude, you've got to stop.
Buddy, come on.
Just come on. But yeah, Shishi looked good. 9 and 6. Good for Shishi. Why is everybody hanking my boy Hakuoho?
Because they think they can get away with it. 4
times. He got hanked 4 times this basho.
And how many worked?
The first two, he learned.
So 50%.
And one of them, Mac, was your baby boy, Shishi, attempted to Hanka Hakuoho.
Glacially.
Yeah.
That was not a swift man.
No. That's not how a shishi do.
Shishi bends all the way forward at the waist and stumbles forward. And that's how a shishi do.
But yeah, besides my just absolute hatred of Meisei and who was the second guy that got him? I don't remember. Meisei Hiradoumi. Despite my now seething hatred for them, I discovered throughout this basho, very big fan of Hakuoho. I love that guy.
He's good.
He looked better. This is the best he's looked since his Makuuchi debut. Yeah. I feel like he had a better record last time, but if he wasn't hanked, cowardly hanked twice by Hiradoumi and Meisei, he would have been 11-4. I guarantee it. But he, in the matches where he was allowed to sumo, he was a lot more like dominant and moving forward, like securing an inside position and just getting guys out quickly. I feel like last basho, his first time back in the top division, it was a lot more slow sumo. Like he was really working to get a good position and then move forward with that, or he'd like get pushed back to the Tawara and have like great antics at the Tawara. But this time was nice, good forward dominant sumo from Hakuoho. So I'm really excited to see that version of Hakuoho back and see how he does moving forward. He just might need to slow it down a little bit so that those hankas aren't quite as effective.
He did do better in January than he did this time.
Right, but he was also going up against lesser competition, and he wasn't gutlessly hanked 4 times.
He got, yeah. No, you're right. He was in the middle third this time, and and doing almost as well. Yeah, he's absolutely somebody that we did look at as a hot prospect, and I think that he is regaining that status in my mind.
Yeah. What happened to Endo? Like,
got messed up, man. Got real messed up.
I have no idea.
Like it was like after day 4 or 5, I feel like, and then literally the last 5 or 6 days, he just tumbled out of the dohyo. Like, whether it was necessary from the match or not, he would just end up flat on the ground and could not get up for like 30 seconds or something like that after every single match. It was crazy.
My thought was he was trying to emulate Ura, because that man loves to flip, toss, jump, and he comes
Ura knows how to fall off the dohyo.
Oh,
but God. Saw it like so 2 or 3 times.
Like everybody, and Endo's got a really good following. I mean, people still like Endo. So I thought, okay, no, wait a minute. Everybody loves Ura, and Ura is the magic man on the dohyo. He's Mr. Acrobatic. Maybe I can be like it. No, I can't.
No, Endo was like, he still did get 3 wins in the second week.
Yeah.
But
at what cost?
Yeah, fair point. But it was specifically his day 9 win over Tamawashi where I thought that he like started to look real bad. That was the one where like it was a grueling match, to his credit, but that's the one where he like needed to take a knee in the middle of the ring afterwards, and that's not something you see from a wrestler that is okay.
Yeah.
That is, especially in professional sumo, that is like, you don't show that the match is over in any way other than just like casually walking to your corner. One of the things Takayasu is going to go down as the best in all of history at is that sumo match just happened. You don't even know if I won or not if you look at my face. But yeah, Endo like straight up collapsing in the middle of the ring. Yeah, he somehow still managed to scrape together a couple more wins, but like just looked like trash. It was very much I don't know. To me, my guess is something spinal related, whether it's a neck or a back or a head or whatever. He definitely did not act himself for the second week.
I don't know, Jake. I remember one match of where Takayasu took a rest in the dohyo. We knew exactly how he felt about that.
Every time you start something with, oh, I don't know, Jake, and you can barely hide a smile, my heart like starts to speed up slightly, because it's like, I know that you're just going to give me some sort of dig that I'm not prepared for.
Yeah.
Hey, Jake, do you know Takayasu lost in a playoff again today?
What? That's all you got? Come on, you're better than that. Don't phone it in, Ryan. That's just disrespectful.
C. That's a C average.
Yeah, at best.
That was my cleric imitation.
You're welcome, Yokozuna Jake.
All right. For context, the match I was talking about where there was like no audience. Where Takayasu
God, no,
fell,
stop.
He like got hurt and fell on the ground, and you could really hear just the cries of pain. It was rough.
It was in the early COVID, no audience times, and you could just hear him like grunting and like
hear everything,
like crying. It was just echoed. It was the most brutal thing I've ever listened to.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Injuries, they're rough. To on the Endo thing, because kind of you think it's spinal or something. I think he's just kind of on his way out. Maybe he's just kind of like
dying?
I'm going to.
No.
What was that, Ryan?
He's dying.
He's dying. Could be.
He's on his way out.
Yeah.
What do you know that we don't?
Flair with the inside scoop.
Yeah. Oh, this is definitely not inside scoop, but I feel like maybe he's just like kind of like pulling back a little bit on training. He's just like, I'm gonna keep doing this while I stay up here. But as soon as I kind of drop down, then I'm just gonna call it quits, kind of thing. Because like it seemed like his cardio is like not there as much. Maybe it's injury, or maybe it's kind of lack of training. Hard to say.
I don't know. That felt like too much to not be some sort of injury for Endo that he was just fighting through.
If it was just once, maybe, but like it seemed almost every day, and that's the kind of thing that made me think that there was something really going on. Because yes, multiple days in a row of looking moderately injured. You know, nothing crazy. Like he didn't need to get carted out or whatever, but like multiple days in a row, it was like, wow, you did not have a good day. Several days in a row.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a little bit worrying.
Yeah, I didn't catch as much of Endo being in a rough shape, so I bet that's probably a more accurate description.
Somebody else, we mentioned Chura no Umi won a special prize. We didn't really talk about Chura no Umi at all. Chura no Umi beat more 10-win Rikishi than Onosato did this basho. He beat Aonishiki, he beat Takayasu, he beat Tamawashi. Not saying Chura no Umi deserved to like whatever. I'm just still interested.
We can't not talk about him.
We can't not talk. Yeah.
Yeah, like he looked good. He was one of the Rikishi that was in contention for a potential 5-way playoff had Takayasu and Onosato lost on day 15. Obviously, neither did. But yeah, Chura no Umi kind of putting his stamp on this basho in a way that who would have expected this 31-year-old guy? He's only been in the top division for a little over a year now. Never really. I mean, he's gone 10-5 2 times in the top division, I guess. But coming off of 2 4-11, back-to-back 4-11 bashos, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to be in the Yusho race. What do you think about that? I'm going to cost Takayasu the Yusho.
It's always fun. I was actually looking at his record and like,
no, it isn't.
Where it's like 10. Was that?
It's not always fun. How dare you?
Jake's just snapping.
Oh, okay.
You said
he's in emotional state.
Yes.
I understand.
Somebody was like, yeah, cost Takayasu the Yusho. Oh, that's always fun. Like, how dare you?
I didn't even think about that, but it definitely was fun.
It sounded like more of a reaction than it was a reply, but still.
But you're right. That was fun, Jake. Thank you for reminding me about that. But no, looking at the records, like a 10-5, 10-5, he got up to a Mike all the way up to a Mike Shearer 4, but then 2 4-11s. It looked like definitely some kind of injury thing. But now he's back with 11-4. Maybe he's kind of peaking at the right time, and like he's kind of a Joy mainstay now, and maybe he's going to prove it.
Maybe
let's get to the Joy more than one basho before we call him a Joy mainstay. He was still Mike Shearer 14 this time. Like he'll be up to 7, 8. 6, kind of that range. So he's not even going to be in the Joy next time. I say Joy mainstay might be a bit of a push, seeing as the last time that he was in the Joy, he went 4-11.
He's still doing a lot better than any of us would have expected.
I thought he was going to come up to the top division and be gone in like 1 or 2 basho.
He very much felt like to use this phrase yet again, a lifetime achievement award of getting promoted to the top division once or twice. Yeah. Like, what's his name? Like Tamashoho is about to again.
Yeah.
But my only real note on Chura no Umi for my notes document says Churanomi ... exciting ?
Yeah.
Because like especially in the second week, he had
Apparently.
some real bangers of some real matches. Like that
Yeah, we're
was
going to talk about Chiranumi a couple times for Match of the Basho.
he will pop up there, but yeah, in general, like he definitely just has that like older guy debuting in the top division for a couple times before he retires kind of vibe to him. So my expectations have been through the floor for Churanomi. And yeah, I don't know. It's been a surprising year over and over again. And yeah, he's back in the good surprise column.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Before we move on, I want to push back to like the list of Makuuchi because we didn't really talk about him too much. But Aonishiki, it's pretty impressive for a 20-year-old.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he got like double digit, and also he got
excuse me, he's 21 as of day 15.
Day 15.
Yeah, day 15. Yeah,
The
Literally
day we're
today is his
literally
birthday.
the
recording
day we are recording.
today.
Oh, you're right. I am so wrong about that.
Flaric,
Thank you
your
for
info
correcting
is
me.
so out of date. It's already the 24th in Japan, so
Yeah. But no, dude, like looking at his like style of sumo, like he looks pretty exciting, and like granted, I guess he's not as big as I thought, but he looks pretty freaking tall at least.
I don't
Maybe gain some
understand.
weight.
I don't understand his style of sumo. Like he's like Shishi. I'm gonna bend over at the hips, and I'm just gonna kind of bat at you for a little while, and then you're gonna lose. Like I don't
Effective.
understand
11
how
times.
he's as
That's
good
what
as
I'm
he
saying.
is.
Yeah. So just imagine if he learned some technique, how unstoppable he's gonna be.
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people have been saying about Onosato for a while. So you know what? You think you have a point.
Yeah. I just want to call him out because
He did good.
looking at that, I'm kind of pretty convinced. Maybe not like obviously I think I agree that there's no Ozeki locks, but I can see him doing like I said on the midway, like he tried to like overextend, people tried to push him down, but he always kind of recovered himself. Like he has a pretty good sense of balance in that way, which is very, very, I think, very impressive to see. So I'm curious to see how well he does because I think he can probably be at least a joy mainstay for quite a long time.
Time will tell.
You want to know how young he is?
He's 21.
When Aonishiki was born, the World Trade Center had been attacked more than 2.5 years prior.
God.
Oh, I'm old.
We are so old.
Oh,
We are ancient. We have 1 foot in the grave. We are so old.
Tamawashi's just out there dancing around, fresh as a daisy.
His limbs are tight because ours are loose, or vice
Yes.
versa, whichever one makes
He's
sense.
siphoning our power.
He's doing the spirit bomb technique, but it's just like
Let me your
stealing
energy.
joint from people.
Oh, wait. I have a great one. He always used those kotanages, so he was taking away the elbow elasticity from others for his own joints.
Oh,
Genius.
that's why
Absolute
Takayasu keeps
genius.
losing.
Deep cut, beautiful, beautiful Flaric.
But yeah, for the age of these guys, like Aonishiki was born in early 2004. Hakuoho was born in late 2003. Atami Fuji 2002. Let's see, are there any other like 21st century guys? Let's see, Onosato, Hiradomi, Oho were all born in 2000.
Yeah.
So was Onokatsu. He's younger than I realize. I suppose I should realize that because he still has the half top knot. What you call it? But yeah, there's
the Mage.
The Chomaga, yeah.
and then there's Sadanoumi, born in 1987. Tamawashi, 1984.
Mm-hmm. I feel
What'd you
like
got, Flair?
you're kind of hinting at there's like, I think we're probably passing like the sports retirement age divide of where that now everyone who does professional sports is younger than us, which is definitely like
Almost
mid-30s.
literally. Yep.
Yeah.
As long as Tamawashi's still around, though, we're good.
We got hope. We got hope. Takayasu's the other closest guy to us, I think. Takayasu's the closest in age to us. But yeah, Sadanomi is still older than all of us too.
And Takada Fuji.
Takara Fuji, you're right, 1987. Woof. Anyways, though, my point about Aonishiki being very young is even though, he's probably cursed to be grouped with Shishi as long as those two guys are together in the top division. but Shishi's like nearly 10 years older than him.
Yeah.
Like Shishi's 27, gonna be 28.
Is 28.
He is 20. Oh, he just turned 28 in January. Yeah. These guys are very far apart. Shishi is the guy in his prime who's like showing up in the top division a little bit. Aonishiki is blasting the doors down as just as hot a prospect as anybody else up here.
Yeah. It's the thing that I realized I compared to him like in this basho was like an Aoyama or a Kaisei. Kaisei, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Brazilian guy,
just, yeah, just like where it's like obviously kind of more of a Western of heritage origin, but they just had great careers of long times in Makuuchi. And I was like, we're probably seeing the beginning of someone kind of just like that. So
yeah,
it's really cool to see.
Aonishiki and Shishi, I grouped them together, and we had this conversation briefly on the midway as well. But like, they're both Ukrainian. Of course, we're gonna lump them together. And they both have a very forward-leany kind of style. But like, other than that, that's kind of it. That's the only similarities. Shishi's enormous. Aonishiki's on the lower end of normal size for a sumo wrestler. Aonishiki is dramatically younger, dramatically faster rise. I mean, certainly Aonishiki is where I'd put my money if I had to say, like, which of these two guys will have a better career.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
I love you, Shishi, but ooh.
All right, Ryan, take us back down below to the Juryo below.
Can I get one more quick note? Are we past Ryan's list where we can bring up our own people, or are we still stuck on Ryan's railroad tracks here?
We're paying attention to lists.
Oh, I closed out the outline hours ago. I don't know what you guys are doing. No, I had only a couple quick notes. I called out on the midway that I thought Hiradoumi might be susceptible to henkas, and I believe I got some pushback. And then 2 days later, he got henked real bad. So I had to call that out as a quick note.
Who did he get hanked by Oshoma?
I think it was Oshoma, yeah, because it was that day 10 loss is the one that I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Hiradoumi has a lightning fast tachi-ai, but we were talking on the midway about guys that are fast but also quick or less susceptible to henkas. Hiradoumi is a guy that's he charges instantly, but he's also very mobile. He's not small, but he's like a little bit lighter on his feet, as opposed to somebody like Onosho used to be a like full steam ahead, I got no plan B kind of guy that would charge in there fast, but not necessarily be quick or agile about it.
Mm-hmm.
So just had to toot my own horn a little bit that like, yeah, Hiradoumi absolutely can be henked.
Anybody can be hanked.
Anybody can be.
Apparently, we just hanka Yokozunas now. I didn't get
just what we do.
rage against that on the midway episode, but god damn it, Chiyosho.
We did plenty for you. Don't worry.
I know. I listened. I'm aware.
Oh well, that's all I got for now.
All right. We haven't mentioned Wakataka Kage. 9-6 at Maegashira 1. He'll be back in the Sanyaku next basho. Had a real rough start going up against all of the top Sanyaku Rikishi. He started off 0-4, but then he went 9-2 after that. So Wakataka Kage doing pretty good. His brother Wakamoto Haru went 9-6 with him, but Wakamoto Haru might get a little unlucky when it comes to getting back in the Sanyaku next basho.
That's what I was wondering. Will be Wakataka Kage and Wakamoto Haru both as Komusubi?
Takayasu's gonna jump ahead of both of them.
Oh.
I think it should be Takayasu, Wakataka Kage, and Wakamoto Haru just getting short end of the stick there.
Dang.
Yep.
Freaking Takayasu ruining the fun meme of brothers side to side for another basho.
Building up fans' hopes just to dash him again. He's splitting up the brothers. What is this guy even doing?
What dick.
So on another note, Gonoyama managed to salvage a 6-2 start. Or sorry, 2-6 start.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of impressive for the Joy. Ura flipped, by my count, I think he flipped upside down a full 4 times this basho.
That sounds right.
Yeah, sounds right.
There was the one where he ended up nearly making out with Ichi Yamamoto. Most of the other ones were like actually kind of well justified flips, but still kind of funny. Who else we got up top? Takanosho. What the hell? Something's broken on him.
Yep.
Anybody else that you guys had? Because I'm like I mentioned before, I think that this basho, like some bashos have to be more exciting than others, and this one, other than that top narrative, not a lot going on for me.
I just want to throw my love for Asakoryu. I've kind of developed the last couple bashos.
Yeah.
He's kind of another small boy.
Yeah.
He's kind of, and like when he went up against Midori Fuji, it was like a regular sumo match. It was weird to see.
Yeah.
I'm just happy you brought up Midori Fuji. So we got a Kata Sakashi. So I'm like, yes,
So
I know
many.
it's always his
Several.
go-to, but I still love seeing it.
Oh, also Midori Fuji wearing a red mawashi. Like
What gives?
That's wrong. Like,
The guy literally named Green Fuji.
yeah.
Yeah.
4, by the way. 4 Katasukashi's, Mac.
Yes.
But still, I love seeing it. I love seeing Kata Sakashi. But yeah, the red Mawashi, I'm like, no. Green. Why did you switch to Enho red?
What are you
Enho
doing?
wears red.
What
What
are
are
you
you
doing,
doing?
He was coming off 3 straight 7 and 8s. He needed to turn the tide, and it worked. He went 9 and 6.
2 quick notes there. Him versus Asakoryu really laid out for me that Asakoryu isn't necessarily tiny. He just has a giant noggin.
There's your Megamind reference.
He's buff too.
Ah!
Like he's got some. He's got some
Megamind.
muscles.
There you go. That's the nickname. That's the joke.
There you go.
No, Asakoryu, he's 5'10". Like he's not little.
He's
When he
5
went up-
centimeters taller than Midori Fuji. And
That's what I mean. When
6
he went up
kilos
against
heavier.
Midori Fuji, it's like Midori Fuji, that's a little guy. Asakoryu, that's a guy with a big head.
I think Asakoryu is probably like the second shortest guy in the top division, though.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised, but he's probably not far behind. Sorry, Flair, go ahead.
I still think he's pretty working on his pounds. He's working on his sumo weight.
Yeah.
You can still see his muscles. I would say.
My other brief note on Midori Fuji, though, if you are an amateur sumo wrestler, check out his Day 12 loss to Oshoma. Midori Fuji goes for the Katasukasshi. Oshoma counters beautifully with a Kotenage. Instead of getting caught leaning too far forward, Oshoma digs that overhook in real tight and uses an armbar to bring Midori Fuji to the ground rather than letting himself get pulled down by his shoulder. That was an awesome match to see. When you see Midori Fuji, you know what he's going to try. You know that Katasukasshi attempt is coming. So, like, seeing Oshoma be prepared with a counter move, that was pretty neat to me.
Asakoryu. Tobi Zaru is shorter than Asakoryu as well. But then Asakoryu is tied with Chura no Umi and Go no Yama for the next shortest. Oh, Ura also at 175. But Asakoryu is also much lighter than most of those other guys. But he's not the second lightest. Toki Hayate is the second lightest at 118 kilos. That is your small boy update. All right. We ready to go down to Juryo?
Let's do it.
All right. Quick spin through all the lower division Yusho winners. Down in Juryo, we had Kusano. This is his first career Juryo Yusho. He's 23 years old. He is a Makushita Tsukedashi that started at Makushita 60 back in May, spending 5 basho in Makushita, all winning records before his promotion to Juryo this basho. This is the first time that the Juryo 14 West Rikishi got as many as 14 wins. He went 14 and 1. He also set the record for most consecutive wins for a Juryo debutant when he started off 12 and 0. He is another guy in the Issei Gahama stable, but he is a Hakuoho recruit. And so the thought is once Miyagino stable breaks off from Issei Gahama once again, Kusano will go with the Hakuoho side of things with like Hakuoho, as opposed to like Takeru Fuji and Atami Fuji.
His only loss was to Kayo, who will be earning at least me and several more a point for our year-long prediction series by getting promoted to the top division.
Yeah, I've already got that point for Aonishiki.
Well, la-di-da. I'm also getting that point. So,
And whoever chose Shiden, I'm sorry.
whoever chose who?
Back.
Oh, Shiden? Oh,
Shiden.
Shiden. Yeah. Oh,
Was
no.
it me?
Probably. Yeah. that would track.
It would not surprise me.
In Makushita,
Back here in the bottom right corner of this video for a reason.
Exactly. I'm like, it's all good. At least I'm in the video.
In Makushita, a bit of a blast from the past for us. you guys aren't going to recognize the name, but I'll tell you why we recognize him. Oshoryu. This is his first career Makushita Yusho, his fourth career lower division Yusho. He has won one Yusho in each of the lower divisions. He started his career 24-0 under the name Motobayashi before he stalled out in Makushita for the past 5 years. He's been struggling on and off with injuries, but he's finally put it all back together, going 7-0 in Makushita for the first time. Sandanme, Asanoyama, this is his second career Sandanme Yusho, his third lower division Yusho, and this is his first basho back after his ACL tear took him out last year. So he is beginning his trip to try to make it back up to the top division once again. This is the third time Asanoyama is starting in Sandanme and trying to make it up to the top division. Once was when his career started as a Sandanme Tsukedashi, once after his suspension, and now after the ACL tear.
That's funny because he started his career in Sandanme.
I literally just said that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was trying to read while I was also not listening.
Joni Dan, Daikisho won his first career Joni Dan Yusho, his second career lower division Yusho. He's 24 years old and been in sumo since 2019. He was hanging around Makushita for about 4 years before suffering an injury that kept him out of 4 consecutive basho, but he also won the Jonokuchi Yusho last basho, so he's cleaning up the bottom of sumo. And then
funny thing about Daikisho, Asanoyama actually started his career in Sandanme, so that was the first time that he was there. I think this is the third time he's been back, though. But yeah, I'll look into that. You go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, get some more research on that. Let's make sure that Asanoyama doesn't have a fourth trip in Sandanme we're not aware of.
Yeah. I'll look at, like I said, I'll look into it. You keep going with your whatever you're doing.
Jonokuchi Chiyo Tenfu is your Yusho winner there. This is his first career Jonokuchi Yusho. He's 25 and has been in sumo since he was 15. He's never made it above Sandanme, but he's back down in Jonokuchi as he's missed most of 4 consecutive basho and returned in full for the first time this past basho. What is this note we have at the bottom here?
Yeah, I was trying to recognize that. What is this?
Well, sounds like somebody didn't listen to the midway, Ryan. We talked about Maizumo. I only give you shit about that because you insinuated earlier that you had listened to it.
I got like most of the way through it. I didn't. So the whole thing
right at the end.
To your credit, this was right at the end.
Okay,
but we talked a little bit about how Maizumo works, and it's basically like, it's not necessarily a gimme. It's not like a freebie, but there's basically like a kind of less formalized tournament for people that want to try to get into sumo, and that's kind of what Maizumo is as a whole. And it's not always the same, and it's not always exactly the bar isn't at exactly the same level every time. You get some number of matches, and if you get X wins, you get to join Pro Sumo. And the reason that we have Imada on here is Imada is a guest of Honu Sumo in San Diego. He actually, his dad was a sumo wrestler, but he grew up in the States. And Imada he went to the SoCal Open last year and won the light heavyweight division. So like this is somebody that grew up in the States, tried out sumo at a club tournament, kicked enough ass and has an in, and decided, I'm going to go to Japan. I'm going to try out Pro Sumo. And yeah, he went 2-0, which means that he's in. We will see him on the Bansuke next time.
Cool.
March is the tournament where the Japanese school year ends in such a time that March is the tournament where you get most of the people who are done with high school and are ready to try to join Pro Sumo. So this was like the particular time of year to try. And yeah, there was, if you go on Sumo DB and scroll all the way to the bottom of the Bansuke page, you can see like the birth date of all of these new guys, and it's like 2007, 2010, 2009, 2009. And then you get down to the American or American raised guy who's trying out sumo. He's born in 2000. He's 25 years old.
Yeah.
He's going to turn 25 this year. So yeah, he's older than most of these recruits. 2-0 is exactly what we wanted to see.
That's awesome.
He'll be on
Cool.
the Bansuke next time. He'll be near the bottom of Jonokuchi, just like the rest of these guys. Jonokuchi is going to be a big-ass division next time with all these new guys joining, but keep an eye out for Imada. That is, if you're actually interested, I can hook you up with the video of watching him win his division last year at San Diego. But yeah, that's why we had this guy on there.
Also down in Jonokuchi, we were watching Tenrose and Hikaru Musashi, the nephews of former Yokozuna, both of them going 5-2, so they'll both be promoted up to Jonidan for the next basho.
Nice.
But with that, let us take a quick break, and we'll come back and figure out where the GSB belt lies after we work on earning our black belts.
About that.
Oh, yeah, I see the note now. Never mind. Jake was a little too broken up about the Takayasu loss to put in the work required.
I had to run a midway episode without half of my team, and I was distracted today. So yeah, we did not get that far. Whatever. But yeah,
I was busy a week ago. Sorry, I couldn't do this.
We'll be back in a minute.
You're listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the world's #1 sumo podcast, according to 3 out of 4 hosts of Grand Sumo Breakdown. Keep an eye out for our preview, midway, and recap podcasts for every professional sumo tournament and a host of bonus episodes in between. Help support us by joining our Patreon and spreading the word about our show. Every penny we raise is reinvested in improving our podcast. We also help run amateur sumo events and produce the American Sumo newsletter, which you can find on our website, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com. Reach out to us on social media if there's anything you'd like to learn about sumo or if you'd like to try it yourself.
Welcome back. As Ryan mentioned, we are punting on GSB earning a black belt.
You are. Quitter.
I don't know. Did any of you guys do any prep?
Quitting at the end of the playoff match.
Fucking wow, for one. And 2, I forgot your question. So we're going to move on to the GSB belt. I don't remember where I got that joke, but I have used it multiple times, like just this weekend, and I love it. So the GSB belt, I'm not going to go over the rules. We go over it on the preview and usually on the midway. The winner's belt, our third iteration of the winner's belt, started this tournament on Hidenoumi, who was too busy with the babes to focus on the sumo this time around. He immediately lost it to Fuji Seiyun, who, let's see, when did Fuji Seiyun have the belt before? I think he might have had the prior belt.
He had previous belts, yeah.
Yeah, Fuji Seiyun is a name that has popped up a few times in our GSB belt series. Anyways, then Roga had it for a few days. Tomokaze had it right at our midway. Right at our midway, we almost crossed the threshold of the loser's belt dropping below the winner's belt, but it didn't quite get there. Daiseizan won the belt. Hatsuyama, Fuji Seiyun got it again. And then, poetically, it ended on Kusano, who
I was going to say.
Yeah, Juryo 14 West with a 14-1. He will be moving that belt up to the very tippy top of Juryo. And
more than likely, yeah.
Yeah, literally or otherwise, it's very close to the tippy top.
Yes.
Our loser's belt, this is the one that started on Terano Fuji in exactly a year ago, Haru of 2024. And the loser of each match is the one who takes the belt. So that one is inevitably going to work lower. This tournament, we finally made our way into Juryo. So on day 1, it was on Mitakayumi at Magashira 17 East. Then he beat Toki Hayate, who then beat Tamashoho. And Tamashoho, being in Juryo, inevitably lost to more people in Juryo. But from there, it went to Shiden, Roga, spent a good amount of time on Mitoryu at Juryo 6. And then on the final day, we had some good news here. Mitoryu beat Hatsuyama, who is Juryo 13 East. So the belt went all the way down to Juryo 13. And Hatsuyama had a middling record, so it's going to stay very low.
Yep.
By the time we see the next Bansuke, these belts will have switched spots. The winner's belt will be in upper Juryo. The loser's belt will be in lower Juryo. So good news there. These belts are progressing so much faster than the last time that we tried it.
Yeah.
So we'll give you an update on that once the Bonsuke's are out.
All right. So we have our champ and chump for GSB. Jake, this is your third consecutive win, or at least share of the win, Jake, I believe.
Oh, share of win, maybe.
Yeah, because you
I
and
don't
I
think I was doing
tied
that
last
good.
time. But I think you won the time before that, and you won this time. Jake is on an unprecedented roll for Jake.
For me. I can't even fault you for bringing that up that way.
Very precedented for people like myself, and I think Flair and maybe Mac had a good streak one time.
Oh, we didn't even update
Once
it in
long
January.
ago.
Our tracking sheet is 2 basho out of date. But yes, I did win outright in November. And then did I
You
win?
tied in January.
Tied in January. Okay. So yeah, this is my 2.5 in a row.
Mhm.
And so that's why
And
Mac has
also-
been
Mac's third loss in
That's
a
right,
row.
baby. That's right. I got the hat trick.
You guys need to
That's
stop
right.
shutting Flair and I
That's the
out
hat
of this.
trick.
Flair
and
and I want to
Ryan.
have fun too.
Yeah, you guys are just busy being like fine.
Damn straight.
Flair
We
and I
haven't-
tied for
Straight.
second.
We haven't punished Ryan in like more than a year now. This is nuts.
We punish him enough just by ridiculing him whenever we can.
Yeah, he had a
Don't
lot of
speak about it.
ammunition for this episode. I'll give him
Don't
that.
speak
but-
about it.
All right, so Max still owes us a mystery.
It has been written, it has been reviewed, and now it just needs to be recorded.
I'm sure that's where Flair is at with his mystery as well.
That's the
Damn
real
straight.
mystery.
I like how you present that as progress when the due date was 3 weeks ago.
You want something good? It takes time, man.
Mysteries.
Nobody said good, Mac.
I don't have faith in that either, though.
Mysteries,
It's
dude.
me, honestly.
Here's what we're gonna do: is Mac has promised to get his mystery to us by the preview next time, which means I'm going to hold him to a deadline of 2 weeks before the preview, and that is when I
Good
need.
luck.
If you can, neither of those are remotely unattainable if they are if you are as far as you say you are. So get on it. But what we're gonna do though is, because we have to double punish Mac on the preview for Natsu,
Ooh.
I want to do one where he doesn't have to. Sorry, I was gonna say where he doesn't have to do work. Let me rephrase that. I want to do one where we don't have to count on him ahead of time. So
That's fair. That's fair.
we're gonna do the D20 of Doom, where Mac has to
Oh,
roll
okay.
a D20.
I haven't done one of those.
Yep, I'm going to come up with 20 phrases for Mac to say, and he has to say them when the die comes up as the number for each phrase. I'm going to come up with 20 things that Mac has to say. They're all going to be devastating. You're devastated already. You're devastated. Trust me.
Oh, it hurts.
So that way we can listen to his mystery that he has recorded and has turned in 2 weeks ahead of time. And we can punish him live with stuff that he has not seen until he has to read it. So that should be a good time and should be getting us pretty much caught up on punishments.
As you wish, Yokozuna Jake.
Damn right.
In addition to the GSB Champ Chump series, we also run a Patron Champ Chump series, and our winner for this basho was Captain Smartass. And Captain
Salute.
Smartass has sent me a victory statement. They say, "It is with great appreciation that I graciously and humbly accept victory in this Basho's Discord Champ Chump competition. I would first like to thank my wonderful champ pick, the champ's champ, if you will, Onosato. If it weren't for the fact that he finally got his Welcome to the Rank of Ozeki pamphlet in the mail last month, I don't think this would be possible. I would then also like to thank not one, but both of my chump picks. First, Nishiki Fuji for having the proper future sight that he would have accidentally gotten about 9 wins if he stuck around, decided that he would drop out and save me the headache of a poor chump pick. I'd also like to thank Keen Bozon for proving his flukiness by losing 4 out of his last 5 matches to really seal the deal for me. I would also like to give an assist to the Torikumi making department for their efforts in trying to thwart my successes by throwing softballs at Takayasu the last 2 days of the basho, even though none of you had faith in him. Shame on you all. For him to end up
Indeed.
for him to end up trying to choke it as bad as he usually does. But Takayasu really wanted to show us all how Abi tried to get revenge on him for laying pipe to a significant other or something like that. And Takayasu turning the table on Abi by revenge piping him to show Abi who the real man in sumo is. And in doing so, conquer his Day 15 demon, only to once again blow it to in his other Day 15 demon, the playoff. Sucks to be you, Jake. I would also like to thank Shodai for continuing my perfect Basho bold prediction record by getting 6 wins, landing him perfectly within my range of 1 to 14 victories. Yeah, Captain Smartass, living up to their name, always predicts Shodai will get between 1 to 14 wins.
Oh, Bravo. Captain Smartass.
It's always a nice, like, every other year sort of thing when Takayasu chokes a basho away, so that all the focus is on Jake, because every other episode it's people trying to bring me down, but at least we all know exactly where to focus our energy when Takayasu blows a lead late in the basho.
When he retires, there are so many people that are going to be lost. Ryan chief among them. They're just not going to know what to do. Like, how do
I'll
they
find something?
How do you get under my skin once
your
he's
mustache
gone?
looks dumb.
No, it doesn't. Like, that's like that. That's just like so patently false. The thing about Takayasu choking is it's partially true. That's why it hurts. My mustache is fire. Like, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Damn. Okay, that was good. I had no doubt in my mustache until that well executed. Okay, that props for that one.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to some other bold predictions that are better than Shodai will get between 1 to 14 wins. That Shodai Zensho, though, we're gonna put that guy on blast. We have some bad predictions. Olavam on Blue Sky said Takayasu Yusho, which is always the worst prediction you can have.
No, it was a good one this time.
No, Takayasu's never going to do it, Jake. We all know it. It's a terrible prediction.
So bold and so close.
They also said
10 out of 10 on the bold scale, though.
Yes. They also said Kotozakura would not get 8 wins. Bessemer Saints on Blue Sky said Chiyoshima 12-3 contends for Yusho but loses on day 15 to the Yokozuna. Just a couple of things very wrong with that statement. It also said Onosato 7-8. Chiyoshima fighting Hoshoryu on day 15? No. Hoshoryu being around on day 15? No.
Ouch.
Some good prediction. We had a lot of pretty good predictions this basho. Mosho Gaeru predicted Onosato Yusho, Kotozakura Kachikoshi, and Waka Bros both get Kachikoshi with one getting 9+ wins. Both ended up getting 9 wins. Hisui predicted Aonishiki special prize, Kotozakura to clear Kataban, and neither Oho nor Kinbozan to be near the Yusho race.
That's good.
True Fred said Kotozakura clears Kataban, but it's a disappointing 8-7. Aonishiki has matches with Sanyaku wrestlers, gets a special prize, but can't hang on in the Yusho race. And then he also said Atami Fuji Make Koshi. So very good predictions there from True Fred.
Wow.
But
well done.
Just not quite as good as our t-shirt winner. That is Paura from our Discord. They said Shishi to get 9 wins. Spot on. Aonishiki 10-5, off by 1. Onosato goes 12-3 and wins a playoff against Takeru Fuji. So not quite
so close.
and then they also predicted Takayasu goes 6-1, and then no, this hurts too much. He gets a Kachikoshi. They were so close to pulling the trigger on the Takayasu prediction.
Yeah.
And he did start 6-1.
Yeah.
In spirit, he got the Takayasu.
Yes.
That's wild. That is incredible.
Well done.
So, Paura,
well done.
you are our t-shirt winner. We will get a hold of you, and we will get a t-shirt sent your way. Let's move on to our GSB awards. The first one we're going to be handing out is the Helpful Friend Award. It goes to Ichi Yamamoto for catching Ura after Ura somersaulted off the doyo and then sharing deep and loving eye contact.
I will bet you money right now that there is already fan fiction written about that moment.
Did your wife write it?
No, she didn't. I didn't even tell her that Takayasu was in the Yusho race until like today when I said, I'm going to come out of that room sad later today, okay? No, we've just been super busy, so like I have not had a chance to inundate her with useless sumo information, but
know what
I just
told my
guarantee
wife?
because I know the sumo community. I know there's fan fiction already about that.
What I told my wife about this tournament, I don't talk to her about sumo. She doesn't care. But I did tell her, it's like this
Neither does mine, but I talk to her anyways. That's not how that works.
So wait, Carolyn and I are the only ones that watch sumo together?
Yeah.
Your wife takes an interest in your hobbies. Congratulations. You're not special.
Wow.
Good for you.
But no.
Special.
What I told my wife was, yeah, this turned out how I wanted it. Jake's going to be so mad. I just get to rag on Jake the entire episode. I'm so happy.
And I bet you high-fived in like a dramatic 80s freeze frame moment and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Jake's going to be pissed. Yeah.
It's all we live for. It's trying to bring Jake down.
I know.
Yep. That and his stupid mustache. I don't. All right.
I'm over it. You can't. No, my armor's back up.
No, I'm gonna make it a thing. It's gonna happen. You're gonna be very self-conscious about that mustache. Next time we record, it's gonna be gone. It's gonna be all gone.
No, I'm gonna stop trimming it at all. We're gonna
You're
go
start
walrus
texting
next
your wife
show.
to start.
Wow.
We're gonna go full walrus.
Yeah.
We're gonna show up and I'm gonna get a beret and go full Jamie Heineman by next episode.
Our next, then you got to shave the hair. So, I'm also about that.
No, it'll be a very like full coverage beret. I can tuck everything up in there.
Our next award, come on, man, award. It goes to, I think, probably Nishikigi. As Tamawashi beats Nishikigi with a well-timed like spin, and it just sent Nishikigi flying out of the dojo when Nishikigi had Tamawashi dead to rights. That was probably the most embarrassing loss for anybody this tournament was Nishikigi having Tamawashi's back. Give Tamawashi credit. That spry 40-year-old was able to spin out of the way. But also a whole lot of discredit for Nishikigi for absolutely blowing that match.
Yeah. I think there's a law in Tamawashi just knowing what to do. Is like, I just know he's going to come super hard. I'm just going to go, whoop, spin out of the way.
Yeah,
that's the veteran.
Tamawashi knew Nishikigi was going to come super hard?
Yes, he was going to know he's going to come super hard. Yeah. After the spin, they're going to just lock eyes for a very long time. And in the stuff that happens in the locker room afterwards is much different.
We don't even need the sumo erotica punishment anymore.
But no, I think
it just got a lot more graphic than we ever got.
Steamy.
But no, I think that's just the veteran stuff from Tamawashi. He just seen that 100 times before, and he's crafted a response, which is just spin out of the way. Just spin.
Any other awards that you guys had?
I didn't have a name for it, but Chiyoshima, I thought almost got... I thought he got robbed when they called the Torinaoshi on... Oh, no.
Was it him and Gonoyama?
I think so. I closed the tab. I'm so sorry. Yeah, was it Gonoyama Day 12? Yes. Thank you. It was Gonoyama Day 12. I thought Chiyoshima clearly won. And then they called it Torinaoshi, and Chiyoshima won by a even slimmer margin. And that one they gave to him. Probably because they didn't want to do another Torinaoshi. But I thought that he almost got robbed there I thought he did get robbed. And if he had lost in the rematch, I might have been even a little bit mad on his behalf. But not that much because it's just Chiyoshima.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't come up with a funny name for it, so I didn't put it on here, but I did want to bring it up.
Yeah. And first time in history, we're getting a second Lifetime Achievement Award being handed to the same Rikishi as Takayasu once again wins the Lifetime Achievement Award in choking. Let's move on to our match of the basho, where
I've just been inoculated. It's just like you've spent so much. It's been 2 hours of you just hammering this. It's just like, I don't know.
Then it should be fine because 2 of our 5 candidates for match of the basho are Takayasu losses. So our first candidate...
that's what you should have led with. That one hurts. That part does hurt. So yeah, all right, read through our nominees.
Why do I? No, I just hit you with both of them. It both works. Day 4, Tabai Zaru, Tobi Zaru defeats Takayasu. A long kind of back and forth battle, but Tobi Zaru gets to bust out his favorite move, the kekaeshi, a minor inner foot sweep. Looking at this, I kind of like, you know what? Tobi Zaru does this a lot, so I did some research. He utilizes it in 3.74% of his wins, compared to a 0.06 percentage usage rate overall in Sumo. So he's using it, I assume that's infinitely more than anybody else. And also, he has 8 of the last 9 uses of this technique in the top division since he debuted in 2020. So Tobi Zaru, like, Midori Fuji specializes in kata tsukashi. Tobi Zaru can't pull this out as often as that, but he is absolutely the kekaeshi master in the top division.
This is, I believe, the move that ended Kakuryu's career.
Is it?
I'm looking it up right now. I'll be there in like 2 seconds. But Kakuryu's final match in the ring as a Yokozuna,
Against Endo.
oh no, it was Koshi Kudake. So I'm pretty sure the only difference is that he used his other foot. But Endo kicked out Kakuryu's planted foot and made him fall on his butt. And then Kakuryu never entered the ring again.
Yeah.
So very similar move, but yeah, I appreciate that Takayasu did not retire after getting sent to the floor by a swift little ankle kick.
TBD. We'll see if Takayasu has the will to continue after this last heartbreak.
He showed up the next day, which means that he's got that on Kakuryu. But
well, yeah, but he's got to show up to the next basho after losing his third playoff. That's TBD, I feel like. Day 7, Kirishima versus Wakamoto Haru. Just a long, extended battle of position between these two with a great flurry of action at the end. Day 10, we have Daisho versus Oho. Constant back and forth pushing action between these two guys that have never had a handful of Mawashi in their entire life. So you know exactly what kind of match this was. Day 13, Tamawashi versus Chura no Umi. Kind of similar, just a couple of guys that don't know what a Mawashi feels like, never touched one in their life, and them going back and forth. And then Takayasu versus Chura no Umi, another intense back and forth battle that Chura no Umi came out on top of him this one. I believe did he beat Chura no Tamawashi, or I don't remember. Let me
you
check.
Wrote it down.
I did.
Takayasu.
He beat Tamawashi and Takayasu. Chura no Umi did do good at the end of this basho.
Okay.
But our choice, almost unanimously, Jake protesting the choice, but the
Correct.
other three of us overriding it. Day 4, Tobi Zaru versus Takayasu is our match of the basho.
Yeah, I appreciated Daisho and Oho trying to kill each other. I'm pretty sure I got a TBI just watching that match, but I'm not saying you guys are wrong, but I couldn't pick a Takayasu loss for this one.
Yeah, you're wrong. That's fine.
I can live with that.
Yeah. Jake, what's your favorite moment of the basho?
Oh, fuck. Oh, go away.
Ooh. Oh God.
That was,
can we just
you had that one ready. You were planning that.
No,
for a
I
while.
literally just thought of that in the moment. I could record this for another 5 hours. I know
you could. No, honestly,
I could live in this.
You
in
sadist.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
100%.
It was Takayasu almost getting the throw on Onosato. Like literally, I do have to pick that moment.
I thought he had it for a second there. I really did.
Absolutely 100% for a split second. I absolutely believed. Not like, oh ho ho, it's the meme. Jake's the Takayasu fan. You know, I gotta pick him. You like, there was 0% of that, and it was 100% of me like standing up and like almost screaming at my computer at 7 a.m. while my family was still asleep. Like that was the moment, and that right there is the moment where like, yeah, Takayasu will be my favorite sumo wrestler until I die. Like that moment right there. And even with him losing that match, that's still the moment. The whole story, the whole story arc, everything. It was just building up to this guy being the guy that is. He would have gotten like 5 Yusho in a different era, but he just keeps getting put in between these all-time greats. He grew up. He had his prime during the Hakuoho era, and he had one last hurrah at the beginning of the Onosato era. You know, like if that's
He might
One
have
last.
another chance to break your heart.
I'm
Don't count him out.
yeah, hey, yeah, don't write him off. He might fail at the
He
last
might
second
do it again.
No, it's poetic in every possible way, and he's my favorite till I die. That's the moment right there. The moment where no matter what, he can make me believe, even just for a little bit. He can do it every time.
Mac, what was your favorite moment of the basho?
Boom. This man, Gotcha Koshi. Next.
All right, Fleric, what was your favorite moment of the basho?
For
Sorry for
those
our
without
audio
video,
listeners,
but-
for the audio only listeners, Matt,
Jake, Ryan said, "Ask me about what was going on."
yeah, but Matt
Yeah,
just
so-
held up a visual thing and didn't say what it
Let
was.
Fleric talk, my man.
I'm just gonna go. I said
As
my
I was,
piece. I'm leaving.
as I was saying before I was interrupted, for those not benefiting from the video feed, he held up Shishi that he was happy
did.
got Koshi.
Fleric's got it covered. Don't you trust your co-host, Jake?
Did you guys know that Asanoyama started his career in the Sandanme division?
Really? He was a Sandame Tsukedashi?
Yeah,
No
not
way.
everybody is a Makushita Tsukedashi. Like some of the people actually only got like enough to
Shut up, Fleric. What was your favorite moment of the basho?
No, I'm curious how many times Asanoyama's been in Sandame. How many?
It could be three.
Three.
I'm not sure.
I know a guy
Minimum
that
of
can figure this
3.
out.
No, I gotta say the playoff match as well, and just kind of the culmination of Takayasu still being like so close, but not yet there. There's a parallel to StarCraft Brood War where it's they call these people the Kong people, of where there's this famous player called Yellow who played Zerg, and then of course Slayer's Boxer, which is one of the huge. I don't know if he was exactly a bonjour, as they say in StarCraft, but he was like definitely one of the really early like superstars. Like he's the guy like your parents would know. Like, oh, that guy played StarCraft. My
parents who followed Brood War, that's the guy that they would know.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. I would say in the context of South Korea, but anyways, not your parents. I would. Okay. But no, it was just every single time he would go up against Slayer Boxers in the final and lose to a bunker rush. And because he just did that cheesy, stupid strat that they hate, but it got him every single time, and the fans loved it. And you know what? Takayasu, he tries so hard. He gets to those playoff matches. He does excellent Supari, but he just doesn't get there. He just loses at the end. And you know what? The fans love him for it. Continue
But
on,
what do you-
Takayasu.
But what do
Continue on.
you love? What was your favorite, Fleric?
It was just the playoff match where it went down. Like the fact that he almost won for a second, but then Onosato just had the technique and won it there. And just the whole Takayasu of it all. The fact, I think what really made it the best was that he lost.
Could not agree with anything Fleric has said anymore.
Two, Fleric.
I feel
Ryan,
bad because I blatantly lied in our Discord channel. So I know I'm not cheering for a Takayasu loss. It's like it's his time. Like he deserves it now. As the closer we got to the end of the basho and the more he was blowing it, I'm like, no, I absolutely want him to lose this. Because then we get stuff in our Discord like, is it too early to vote for Haru as the worst basho of the year? I never was a huge Takayasu fan, but now I get the feeling of hope being destroyed in the last minute.
It's
Fuck me.
intoxicating.
Vomited. But like 7 crying emojis. How long must I wait? I'm so dead inside. From the jaws of victory, defeat is again claimed by Takayasu. It was at least a bit more respectable this time, but it still hurts. I'd rather hope and be disappointed than not hope and feel nothing.
Their anguish is sustaining you right now.
That was my favorite moment of the basho.
That one right there, that did it. That hope, that everybody who follows the NFL and knows the history of the Vikings knows that is Takayasu. It's the same thing. That I'd rather feel hope than nothing. That's the thing. That's the one.
It's better to have-
Onosato. Onosato's had 3. Who cares? It's
better-
whatever.
It's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all.
Bingo.
Right, Jake?
Yep. That's why there's only one towel on my wall with the wrestler's name on it.
Don't cry because it's over. cry because it happened.
Keep them coming. Can we get even more generic of a cliche? Keep it going, Flair.
Oh damn, that's the only two I got. Anyone else got me?
Yeah, I think I'm fresh out. Probably time to close the podcast.
Wait, I got the last one. It's a journey, not the destination, Jake.
I was waiting for it, but if nobody else is gonna say it, if you don't love me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. That can be kind of.
It's getting too much. Ryan, get us out of here.
No,
not my job.
Ryan doesn't get us out.
Oh God. Hit the end button.
We're going until Jake and Flaric decide.
Well, I'm leaving. I'm out of this.
So let me tell you more about the Bonjours of StarCraft Brood War.
All right, bye.